Everybody, we are back with Elemental Gold League. This will be Flippa United versus Monkeys Rising. We have a lot of roster changes to look at. I am Colonel. Beside me is Packer Paul. Paul, talk me through it. There is so much to go over.
Okay, so both of these teams tonight have made many changes. Flippa United having dropped a lot of their players, moving Ish to mid lane, I believe bringing in a new jungler, bringing in a new top laner. I'm excited to see what direction this team goes in draft because of all these changes. And for Monkeys Rising, there are two E-subs, but I believe that they're both permanent changes to an extent. BTS Jungkook coming in to be the new starting jungler for Monkeys Rising on an E-sub this week. Next week he will be the full-time starter. And Chinese Spy is having some technical difficulties from what I've heard. So Wonderworld, the former Flippa United player, is here to take on his old team captain in the mid lane. So lots of storylines, lots of exciting stuff here. I'm looking forward to it, Colonel, with B1 coming through. And it's Jinx. It's Ayok's iconic Jinx. He's been playing it all season, Colonel. I'm excited.
Not too big of a surprise there. I'm very curious what we'll see in the mid lane, considering the story behind these two. Wonderworld looking for some revenge up against Flippa United. There is, for R1, the Tristana lock. Remember, this can be flexed. I would not be surprised for it to land either mid or bot lane. So excited to see it could potentially be up against this Jinx. And for a second, they will lock in Diana. I mostly expect that to be in the jungle. So what are your thoughts so far on these picks?
Well, I think what's potent about Diana still, Colonel, is that it can be flexed into mids. And I think it's a champion that Ish would be playing if he was given the chance. But I also think it could go to the jungle because I think it's stronger there. Monkeys Rising going with the Braum. But very comfortable draft for Monkeys Rising so far. And back to the Diana real quick, though. I do think it's a good pick because of its flexibility, because you can also flex that Tristana between ADC and mid as well.
Absolutely. And now for that second pick, it looks like they will be locking in the Poppy. Very much expecting that to be on the top side. And now rounding out this first round of picks, and Flippa, we'll see what they decide to go with. They do have multiple flexes that they're still trying to hold up going into the second ban phase. So makes a lot of sense to be looking for support pick there. And they will lock in the Lulu. So there's a potential for that to be the Trist Lulu lane. That is a very potent lane, but they still obviously have that potential. What are you expecting going into round 2 of bans?
Round 2 of bans, I think that Flippa United have a lot yet to be revealed here. I'm really excited to see what direction they go with this draft. Because Lulu kind of hides everything, and Lulu's a strong champion right now. This Tristana could be bottom or mid, this Diana could be mid or jungle. They still could have not picked an AD, they still could have not picked a mid laner with Tristana and Diana being showed, so the flexibility from Flippa is really exciting. I think the best thing to do here is either give up a little where your flex is going to go, or Flippa United could really try to get spicy with it and blind a top laner here to keep Monkeys Rising guessing for the rest of the draft. Now for Phase 2 for Monkeys Rising, on the other hand, we still have mid to be picked. That could be Poppy jungle, that could be Poppy top. I think that Monkeys Rising would be looking to give their top laner the best matchup possible, as Basting the Second is performing very well in lane this split. So, if I'm honest, Colonel, with this new Flippa United roster, I don't know where any of these drafts are going to go, and I think that's why it's so exciting, as we're going to see R4 locked in here. I think that going with a top laner might be the play, but it seems like they're waiting a little too, because I don't know if they're sure yet, so...
And there it is, just like you called out, the Orin being locked in, holding up the potential for those flex picks up until their very last. In that second ban phase, we did see Monkeys Rising focusing pretty heavily on that mid lane. The Lucian, very strong for Ish, as well as Corki, obviously being a strong pick. And now, as Monkeys Rising has their last 2 picks up and available, they have to decide what they're going to try and put into the potential flex options. Set, locked in, as a great pick that I very much expected to be top, which could potentially, like you were saying before, show Poppy in the jungle, which I'd be incredibly interested to see Poppy in the jungle. Is something that always can surprise you. And Jungkook, although he has played 1 week, he hasn't exactly showed all of his cards yet, so still a lot unknown about his pool. And Victor locked in for that last pick in the mid lane. We saw it with Chinese Spy. We'll see if he does come in later in the series. But even with Wonderworld here, Victor is an incredibly strong pick.
It absolutely is, Colonel. And for Monkeys Rising, scaling is the name of the game. This team loves to scale. They still have a pressure point in their top side with basing the second on this set. So there's a lot of, this is a very stock standard Monkeys Rising draft, and obviously I'm a bit of a fan of it. I like what they've got so far, but with that said, I think that Flippa United's R5 is really important here, and it's the Yone to counter the Victor. Now, Colonel, they finally revealed where all their flexes go. Tristana goes bottom, Diana goes into the jungle, the Yone is mid to counter the Victor. They do get a lot of value here. Flippa United's draft is very, very, very strong, and it has a lot of early game aggression to maybe run over what Monkeys Rising likes to do in the first 15 minutes, which is sit back.
Absolutely, and we did see last week on stream that Monkeys Rising had a bit of an Achilles heel when it came to that early level of aggression that sort of stopped them from really ever coming online in last week's series. So we'll see if they have adapted from that loss. Flippa United is set up for success. I love what they did with that R5 pick, leaving so many question marks for Monkeys Rising draft. But before we go to a quick break, Paka, as biased as it may be, tell me your prediction.
I think that this is a very, very competitive draft from Flippa United. And I think that the early game aggression from these champions may prove to be too much for Monkeys Rising. So, in a turn of events, I may have to say, I think that Flippa United's draft here is fantastic for game one because they were able to use red side to get matchups that were really optimal for them. This Yone pick is good here. They got a really strong bot lane. They got to see what Monkeys Rising wanted first and were able to counter it, and I think they countered it correctly, and that's why I'm going to go with Flippa.
All right. I mean, not too surprising, but I think I might disagree with you here. I think the storylines are just too good. There's so much riding for Monkeys Rising if they do take this series, and Wonderworld coming in with a vengeance. I think that fire will keep Monkeys Rising going throughout this early game, let them scale up into late, and stomp Flippa once the game gets just a little bit too far and the scaling has happened. But thank you guys for tuning in. This is Monkeys Rising versus Flippa United. Stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 4 of EGL. Oh, Pack-a-Paw, you're gonna have a party, as it looks like Monkeys Rising is looking for an early level 1 play topside. This is one of the LTMK specials, but it might actually get sussed out here.
I think it will, Colonel, and it's sad to see. I feel like their coach needs to work on them with these level 1 invades. It's just, it's too quick. They have to wait for their team to be grouped and walk a little slower. Nonetheless, there's action. There's action pre 130. It's the best feeling ever, and Vanquish Ribbon Spirit aren't gonna get a ward in the bot side. So honestly, still a successful evade from Monkeys Rising as 2 wards come out from Flippa without any vision in meaningful places. Because unless they re-invade, those 2 wards are just going to go to waste from the side of Flippa, and it's a ward advantage for Monkeys Rising, so it's over. If I had to say it was over, Colonel, it's 2 wards to none. I think that it's GG.
GG, go next. Monkeys Rising off to a start. Maybe a good one. We'll see. Those wards, you're right, probably won't see too much use. But as we take a look at the junglers, it looks like they will be on separate paths. Diana pathing herself to the bot side, and Poppy doing the opposite, going to be pathing up towards this set. But take a look here. It looks like there might be some cheese for the sides of Flippa, as Ibaka is going to find it. Will land Winter's Bite. It should not see a stun, but early chip damage onto the support. But talk me through some of these lane matches. What are you expecting in these early levels?
Well, I was expecting there to be a bigger advantage from Lulu Trist, but Tristana needs level 3 first, so at least in the bot lane, Jinx does actually go up some farm on this first wave, which is pretty interesting. But with the rest of these matchups, these are all skill matchups across the map. I believe that they are pretty 50-50, because I feel that on, at least in the top lane, Ornn can survive the set lane. Its set is slightly winning this matchup, but there's definitely room for Ornn to navigate and play well once he gets maybe a half an item, maybe plated steel caps. And in the mid lane, pre-6, Wonderworld is very safe on this Victor, but as soon as Yone gets R, there's so much room for Yone to outplay. With that said, though, there's a ton of move speed with Victor taking Phase Rush, and there is room for him to maneuver and outplay here too, so even with a lot of counter picks from both sides, top getting counter and for Monkeys Rising, and mid getting counter for Flippa, these matchups are pretty even all around the map. There is room for players to outplay, and if I know anything about these players at all, they will be looking for the solo kill angles. They will be looking to take the game into their own hands. A lot of these players don't need no jungler. They'll do it themselves, so I expect around level 6 we're going to see a lot of action in these solo lanes.
Absolutely, I'm very much expecting that and hoping for that as we look. It looks like neither jungle will be able to get much done. Funnily enough, both the top side for Monkeys Rising as well as the bot side for Flippa do have priority, which does help them secure that Scuttle Crab early, but does mean not too much action in terms of ganks. But if we take a look at the early CS, nothing too different to be expected, except a set is losing a little bit in the top side, and Victor, with the early range versus melee matchup, starting to build himself an advantage.
Yeah, Colonel, and I think that these two teams are very close in the rankings. These drafts are very even. They both have different identities, but they are very even. And I think we're going to see close CS all game. It'll be... I talk about this a lot with different players in amateur. I don't think that this game will come down to who are better players, because I feel these teams are very close in skill. It'll come down to who plays better in the moment. I expect that the team that will win these games is going to be based on the performance in the game itself, game by game. So I think that we could see the series go to 3 with that said, because I think that there's room for both of these teams to maneuver as...
Whoa. That is a lot of damage in the top side. Actually, a lot in the mid side as well. Wonderworld taking Ish down very low. He's going to find the auto, but one more Q might have done it, but not able to. And on the top side, Ridley doing so much work onto basing the second, which, I mean, Ornn just does Ornn things. Jungkook is here on the bot side clearing out some vision, but this will signal for Flippa to get off an early back with about an even lane in CS. But some early action already.
Absolutely, Colonel. And I think what's surprising here is we're seeing that Ornn is getting a bit of an early advantage when he was the blind pick, and Victor is getting a bit of an early advantage when he was the blind pick for Monkeys Rising. So we're seeing both of the counter picks from both teams not pan out early as much as we'd like. Now it's only 5.5 minutes into the game as Monkeys Rising are making a very aggressive Drake call here. I think they'll get away with it, but I mean, very impressive Drake control again. Last week on stream, we actually saw Rocker play around Drakes incredibly well, and Rocker back at it again with every single first Drake in the game to his name, and very impressive so far, but there is going to be action in the bot lane, Colonel.
Oh, that's going to be first blood before O- could even get there. That will be Lulu securing the kill onto Braum. Let's take a look at that as they rotate back from the Drake. Lulu just barely coming back to lane, but he's already low. The jump on from Riv, that is so much damage. The Glitter Lance will finish off the kill, and first blood going over to Flippa.
It is, and I mean, it's a little unfortunate to see because you feel that Baki or Zell should know better than to step forward with that HP, being that he's in the weaker side of this lane matchup, but he steps too far and it costs him his life. But we're starting to see, again, the counter matchups not panning out for both teams as the CS leads are just growing higher and higher in these solo lanes, Colonel, and the gold lead only separated by this first blood as the two solo lanes are balancing each other out, with the advantage mid lane being countered by the advantage that Flippa have in the top lane. Again, a close game, but with not a lot of aggression early from Flippa despite playing the more aggressive comp. I feel that this is still slightly Monkey's favored early.
Absolutely, and remember with this CS difference in the mid lane that not only did they have the option to counterpick this Victor, but they also did have Diana there already. Diana does have a winning matchup into the Victor, so interesting to see that they did feel more confident with the champs where they are currently, but we'll see now that both mid laner and top laner do have their ults if that does decide to change. Remember, Yone has incredible pressure on the Victor. Once he is level 6, that Fate Sealed can do so much damage to Underworld if he is hit by it.
And Colonel, Poppy has a Sheen? I mean, I saw the Dark Harvest, and I know that there are some Poppies that go Dark Harvest in the jungle just because it gives you a little more pop potential, but does this mean that we're seeing Divine Sundra on Poppy? Because that'd be crazy. I think that might just be what the item is, as there is some whiff
stepping out. That's a lot of damage. Yone using the E back to avoid the stun. Remember, he is unstoppable as that comes back, but it's starting to get very dicey in the mid lane. Diana is here. Both junglers are smelling blood in the water. Poppy has arrived as well. Now Jungkook actually potentially looking in here is going to find the hero's charge onto it, but that's the Moonfall. It's going to be a lot of damage. Fate Seal coming in. That's a flash away from Jungkook, but is it too much? No! O- will get the kill. Now Wonderworld having to flash away. Baki has arrived, but that is another kill over to Flippa United.
And I mean, this is the early game aggression with their comps mid and jungle being slightly favored. They are able to turn the play, and it does turn out right.
Flash polymorph instantly. This Ignite is down. Yoked will die. As one tower shot, 2 tower shots coming in onto Riv 60. As so much damage. The Showstopper coming in. Riv is trying to run away. Baki will find the kill. Another one. Clean up crew coming in for Monkeys Rising as they find 2 to answer.
I think that's a really great TP to answer from the aggression that Riv and Spheric were on the side of Flippa, because I feel like diving tier 2 without your jungler that early in the game is a little too deep. As we go to replay here, we're going to see mid lane's action first, I believe. No, we're going to see bot lane's action. Riv and Spheric walk way beyond tier 1. They know that Yoked is dead to rights, but once Yoked's back at this tier 2, Spheric has to flash forward to find this kill, and it's trouble from here on out from Riv and Spheric as they just have nowhere to go, nowhere to run. And again, it's a little too deep, a little too early, but a great TP from basing the second to stabilize this early game for Monkeys Rising.
Important to mention that one of these kills was a solo kill for the Braum. Not exactly what you like to see, but now we're going to be looking in the bot side. O- is here. That's the rocket jump in. Glacial Fissure to try and stall. And it will do well to cede the pressure. Now Riv 60 going to be taken a little bit back, but overall, nice job to avoid it. They did not have any of their summoners, but not punished for that fact. And Monkey's Rising will answer with the top Rift Herald, trading the Drake.
And this is a bit of a... This is the reason why Braum looks pretty good right now. I mean, they go in as 3, they're walking at them, the angle is pretty good, and Braum just denies so much pressure from the top side, as I believe that... Oh, I'm sorry, that is Drake going down for the side of Flippa. I knew that BTS Jungkook and Beasting were hitting the Rift Herald, but I thought that it was stolen? Nonetheless, my eyes are just deceiving me on the desk here, Colonel. And, I mean, a pretty standard trade at the start of the game, as you would expect from this point. This game is still very close.
Aka, I don't think that it was stolen. I think it was actually used up in the top side. Well,
yes, it was. It was. As soon as they got it, they dropped it to bring it topside as Diana killed the Drake. So I thought that somehow Diana had stolen it. And my eye, I'm going crazy, Colonel. I've had too many steals happen in my life where I just can't press the smite key fast enough. And I had a little bit of PTSD come out there. I think I'm okay now. But nonetheless, we're in a very, very close game as everything is going about as expected, except maybe the set matchup is a little too far down, but it is counterbalanced with how well Wonderworld is performing, and there's a roam coming out from Wonderworld, the man himself, so...
That is an early rocket jump coming out of Riv 60. Wonderworld is here with the Death Ray. The W is there, but unfortunately Winter's Bite does not find its mark. It hits the minion in front. Now Wonderworld's continuing to trade, but this is the TP coming out of Ridley. He has arrived. Wonderworld is taking out so much damage. He's going to find Fate Sealed on the opposite side, and Ayok is fallen, and so quickly it's going to continue to go in Flippa's favor. The knockback is there from the Buster shot as a double kill going over to the Ornn. Only Braum will escape, and that is 3 quick kills over to Flippa.
And now we're finally seeing some signs of life from Flippa as they open up this game. They do burn both teleports, Colonel, at 13 minutes, so... This is a concept that I talk about a lot when I'm playing comp, is like this is your early game team comp's last opportunity to make a play. So they committed all of their TPs bottom to ensure that they have a lead going into the mid game, but it is on them now to start to snowball this advantage that they've created because they've burned a lot of resources here, Colonel. Set'll still have his TP up in time for the next dragon. And I mean, Wonderworld does burn his TP mid to cash this wave for Victor and try to punish Ish for overstaying bottom, but with a single TP advantage now, it's up to Flippa. It's gold versus resources at this point. There is a TP advantage from the side of Monkey's Rising as Drake spawns, whereas Flippa is going to have a couple extra 1,000 gold in their pocket to take the next team fight. So I think that this is a really smart play from them. As we see, first starting off, Baki miss his Winter's Spite, and now they have to run for the hills as both of these teleports do come in, and it's just chaos at this point. The Ornn Horn comes out, Ish ultimates, killing Ayok, as there's action in the mid lane.
Back up live, Wonderworld is going to be ganked in the middle, holding that flash perfectly for O-, that final Moon Silver Crescent strike, excuse me. But that does leave opportunity. Monkey's Rising will use that to push down the bot side. Remember, they did actually get the first tower up in the top side, facing the second, punishing that double TP. But a great job to avoid the damage from Wonderworld holding in and finally using that flash.
Yeah, and I mean, Wonderworld's been performing very well here into this Yone, and it's supposed to be pretty Yone favored after 6 for a couple levels until Victor is able to become strong enough to fight off the all-in from Ish, but I guess Ish doesn't take the Ignite. He's in a spot where he's a bit weaker in lane because of it, and again, Wonderworld's been performing very, very well in this Victor, and I think we have to credit Ridley Prime as well in the top lane on this Ornn. I mean, 2-0, 30 farm up on this set, and just looking so powerful going into the next Drake fight. Colonel, with Drake in a minute, I think that this is the most important fight we're going to see this game as Riv just hops in.
That is the hop in, polymorph onto Braum. He's flashing away, but he is still knocked up. Now Glacial Fissure to try and stall the fight. Fate Sealed will find the mark onto Wonderworld. Gonna do so much damage, and there's actually the kill. Wonderworld gonna find it with the fadeaway. now basically the second, trying his best to run out. Ayok has find the cleanup kill. Now slowly cutting it back. They're doing so well this fight. Now O-, he's going to be going in. Oh no, but the slam does not hit the ground. Showstopper stopped. And that is going to be an important pickup for Flippa, as the health bars are so low with only 15 seconds until this Drake spawns. That could spell the Drake, and it also means the mid-tier 1.
It does also mean the mid-tier 1, Colonel, and that is a really, really, really good fight played by both sides, as I think we're going to go to a replay here soon. But there are so many things that come out here. Vanquish Wave just hops in on the Tristana with her team following up. The Ornhorn comes out, but the kiting from Monkeys Rising is so good. Braum lays down the ultimate. Ish goes in a little too deep here, coming back just in time to find himself inside of basing the second's E. And Yoked on the bot side, flash zap attack, catching the Lulu. And what I was going to say there is that basing had Diana so low, he did not have to press R there to finish off the kill if he just auto-attacks one last time. I think that's all he'll need. But he presses the ultimate to get a little bit more, and it's a little more than he can handle, and he does trade his life back. But while we were in the replay, the Drake does go over to Flippa United. They do have the gold advantage here, although slight, and it does get them that Drake.
Absolutely, and now with 1.5 gold over Monkeys Rising, we're going to be looking to Flippa to see how they push the pace. Remember, as the game scales up, as Ayok starts to come online, as this Victor continues to progress, Monkeys Rising will only get stronger. So we'll see where they decide to push the tempo to try and continue to balloon their lead. And one of those potentially being Rift is actually currently owned on the side of the jungle that Monkeys Rising has taken part in. They do have vision all over here. They have yet to start it, but they always have that possibility.
Yeah, they always do have that possibility indeed. And Colonel, a quick question for you.
Absolutely.
Who do you think has been the best performing player so far this game?
Ooh, that's a really hard one. Right now, I'd have to honestly say Riv. He has had that one a bit over aggression, but he has so much confidence here to try to continue to balloon. And now 2-1-3, he has that gold bounty over his head, and he's only going to continue to get stronger as he comes online. He has yet to finish his second item. He already has that zeal, and so far he's played with a lot of confidence, and that's exactly what you need when you play this Tristana. So far he'd be my best performer.
I would have to say so as well. I think it takes a lot of guts to just jump in and know your team's going to follow you up, and I think that's something that he's done very well on this Tristana. As Ish is going a little too deep here, Colonel.
Going with seal. Now that's a stun, but Jungkook finding himself on the board. And the TP actually being canceled in the top side. Basing the second, using that face breaker to stop Ridley in his tracks. That is a great pickup and a great teleport usage for Monkeys Rising, continuing to try and keep themselves in the game, almost evening up that gold lead. Now a lot of damage traded on Spheric, but a great win so far for Monkeys Rising.
And with this Yon falling, we're seeing a huge advantage starting to be built in the mid lane as Wonderworld is becoming very, very strong, and I think they're going to contest this objective here, Colonel.
Braum blocking that Ornhorn. Now, based on the second, he's in the middle of 4. He's going to use the W, but that's a lot of damage, trying his best to keep himself safe, and now that's the heroic charge in, but Diana with the moon charge, she's going to find the kills, and that's a lot of damage, and they're going to continue to find more. So far, barely not being able to find that one kill. As soon as they do, Jinx can pop off. Ayok now finding that first kill. Can he continue? No, he's going to get knocked up. That's a lot of damage. And now, oh, there's so many low HP bars, but that's going to keep going. That is the ace for Flippa. And a 5-for-1, and they get the Rift Herald on top.
And that is target focus going wrong. That fight was in the hands of Monkeys Rising, but just not being able to finish off low HP targets, tunneling a little too hard here as we go into replay. This fight is starting off by basing the second. It's pretty good. The ultimate could have been onto the team, laying down a lot more damage, but now there's just so much control by Monkeys Rising here as Ayok is going untouched. O- is so low, he just needs one more auto. K oversteps, and it's going to cost him his life. And Jinx does get the reset, but then she goes on to a different target than Jungkook, and it costs Jungkook their life. And Ava, the 5-for-1 play, they get the Rift and they stay for the Baron, and at 21:30, Flippa have completely cracked this game, Colonel.
All on top of such great execution in that last team fight. They were on absolute slivers and just very, very, very close to that toppling the other direction. But they have played it incredibly well. And now, with already a massive gold lead building, they are already at a 4K gold lead. And now, with the Baron, with the Rift Herald still in O-Minus's pocket, they can continue to push forward. I don't see this mid tower surviving any longer as soon as that Rift Herald does get pulled if they decide to use it. Now, Monkeys Rising trying to hold their ground.
And with a lot of wave clear on their side, though, Colonel, it does depend. I think that Flippa are going to have to find at least one more kill to really open up this game. The Rift Herald will get them to tier 2 if it does crash, though, with that said. But I think that this Baron is just going to be a lot of gold on the side of Flippa rather than
that is going to be
but there's a catch.
Looking in, Poppy trying to keep herself alive, but that's a lot of damage. The face seal going to miss, and that's one kill on for Jinx. Now she's going to try and continue to survive. Poppy will finally fall. Riv jumping away to keep himself alive. Ayoked doing a great job to get that kill, and the health bars are so low. The Rift Herald did not even get his charge. Monkeys Rising holding them back. The Super Mega Death Rocket. Oh, it's so close. Riv barely holding himself together. Spheric on such low HP. Basin Second is continuing to chase. I'm not sure if they'll be able to find it. He's actually flashing forward. He's going to find the Facebreaker. He's going to suppress him. Shut down with the Showmaker. And now continuing forward on Spheric. He's polymorphed up. He's going to find the Q. Finds one punch. Oh, so much damage on Ish. But that should be it. Oh no, Riv. Can he escape this? They do not have vision of him. He should be able to get it back off. But a great job by Monkeys Rising to keep this game close. And they will be rewarded with the Mountain Drake.
And Colonel, I mean, again, these fights are just so close. The disengage proving to be king from Monkeys Rising, as Braum, Poppy, and Victor have just done such a crazy job of disengaging the dive comp from Flippa, and I think that's something that went unnoticed in draft, how much disengage that this team comp does have, as there's another fight in the mid. It's all action, Colonel.
Riv, with so much confidence, jumping in there and not punish Baki, will find himself at half HP. Remember, they do still have the Baron buff on multiple members, and Riv is not scared to flex that where he needs to. 400 gold bounty over his head, and now jumping in again, he's going to get a lot of damage onto Wonderworld. The bomb is ticking at half HP. He's so close, maybe 2 more autos until he find it, but now Jungkook is here, trying just to hold off this mid tower, but another good disengage from Monkeys Rising. As we take a look at the gold lead, it's actually gotten smaller. It's not exactly what you want to see for a Baron buff. Now down to just about 2K. So Monkeys Rising actually stopping that would be a funnel, continuing to balloon their gold lead and doing a really good job of stemming the bleeding. But now take a look at the time. They have about 3 minutes, 2:30 on the Baron, and just over that for the next Drake. Next Drake will be Soul Point for whichever team gets it. So take a look at that, and Baron will spawn. So this game seems to have evened out. Remember, that is an advantage to Monkeys Rising. They do have the better scaling composition, but they are still in Flippa's territory. Flippa does still have a gold lead. They do have Riv with that ornament. Remember, the ornament will keep them at least competitive in the late game as they continue to get buffs. That is technically going to continue to infinitely buff them up. But there is so little time until this Drake spawns. We'll see how they decide to balloon it, because remember, they have to push the tempo. Monkeys Rising is going to only get stronger. Ayoked has been doing so much damage. Just one misstep stopped them from winning that fight before Baron. And next time, he has so much more damage. He has so much more power in the tank as his items continue to come in. He does have second item. Did go for Runon's Hurricane. Is a pretty popular item on Jinx, although Phantom Dancer does have a decent amount of better stats, in my opinion. But keeping pace with Riv despite the kill advantage. If we could take a look at the gold real quick to compare these 80 carries, despite the 30 CS advantage, they are only about 400 gold apart in the 80 carry position. And the big advantage actually going to be in the jungle. It's a 1500 gold advantage for Diana, as it should be Packapal's triumphant return. But Diana has been doing so well. These moonfalls on her engage have been doing massive work, and now Flippa are looking to get vision on Baron's side with 30 seconds left. So far, no one can contest. Drake is still ticking down. They have a minute 30. They should be trying to get off their backs as soon as possible, but there potentially could be a fight here as Monkeys Rising is trying to keep control of the river. And Diana potentially going to be looked in on. Jungkook looking to try and charge, but the Winter's Bite does not land. And they cannot find any more steadfast presence, giving Jungkook a lot of engaged potential, but unable to find the pick. Now, this could be Flippa's chance to look for something themselves. Jungkook taking out pretty low. That's going to be Call of the Forge God onto Jungkook. He will get knocked up. He did not find Diana's Q, but that's going to be face healed onto 2, and that's so much damage. Diana with a double kill onto both the support and the jungler. A great pick and an overextension from Jungkook as he did not respect the engage range that Ridley does provide. And perfect timing as the Baron is alive. There is no smite. Now this could be a Baron secure going over to Flippa. Now they're doing a good amount of damage. They're going to try to look for the fight here. Base in the second, using that face breaker. That's W. Is going to be so much damage. Shut down going over. That's another one. Now Showmaker, that's crazy. This teamfight is ridiculous. The 3v5 works out. They find kill after kill. Basing the second with the flash forward. Triple kill to the top laner. You've got to be kidding me. Monkeys Rising come out on top with the ace. And they're going to be looking for the Baron themselves. I'm not sure if they have the HP to this, to be honest. Wonderworld is backing up. It doesn't look like it. Base in the second. Could die here. Oh, that is a lot of damage, but not enough. Instead, they will decide to call for the Dragon. Remember, this is Drake Point once they secure it, and what an incredible team fight from Monkeys Rising. As pretty soon we should get the replay, and Packapal is back. Tell me how that
and
team
Colonel,
fight worked out.
What a time for me to come back to the team fight. I come back, and this is what I see in front of me. There are 3 alive for the side of Monkeys Rising, and Flippa are turning onto the Baron, but facing the second is about to come up huge with this true damage on set. The engage from Ridley Prime isn't even bad, but the E pulls in, and this W hits 4-2 in the true damage, and that's what it's gonna take as Flippa United explodes Colonel, and that is an absolute turnaround by Monkeys Rising, and now we're in an even game.
And just when we were almost counting Monkeys Rising out, that pick onto the jungler, that pick onto the support looked so good, but the 3v5 came true. And now, remember, we are closing in on that 30-minute mark, and the late game team comp is starting to come online. Wonderworld is going to just continue to do more damage. He has his second item completed, is working on his third. He already has that heal cut, and the 3-item breakpoint, that IE going over to Jinx, IE to so much damage. Tristana, I know your opinions, but I sort of want to hear them one more time. On her third item, decides to go for LDR. So a difference in the item builds.
All right, chat, listen up. All right, chat. LDR as an item is not what it used to be. Okay? Set does not have a single armor item. Poppy has Plateds and Bramble, and this Braum has Plateds, Locket, and Bramble. You can go Infinity Edge on champions. Infinity Edge is the best third item in the game. The stats are so favored for IE. IE has 70 AD and increases crits. And remember, last season, everybody was building IE first when it only crit on 20% of your auto attacks. And now you're telling me, oh, well, IE only crits 60% of the time. It's 70 AD. It is such a more powerful item. It is such a more lethal spike. And I think that Tristana not going Infinity Edge here, especially when she's single target focused damage, trying to absolutely explode someone, is the wrong call. Now Jinx, going this Infinity Edge, was able to deal a lot of damage in that last Baron fight and will continue to do so as the last Whisper should be coming in next to then give her the pen she needs after she has the Infinity Edge, after she has this huge damage power spike. Now I know that I have a lot of ADC mains telling me that they don't think this is the case, but I mean, I just think IE is the call.
The stats do back you up. The win rates are pretty heavily in IE's favor, but regardless, these are the items picked. Now, if we could, take a look at gold real quick. See how the gold has flopped after that team fight, and Jinx, coming from a deficit, is now in a gold advantage for what feels like one of the first times of importance this game, to almost about 500, about a kill's worth of an advantage to her. And other big points of contention, take a look at that top side. That gold advantage is disgusting from Set.
It absolutely is, and we doubted him in lane. He was down a lot in lane, but in these team fights, how clutch has Basting the second been, absolutely carrying the heck out of Monkeys Rising. And, I mean, it is still a close game. Only 1K separates these teams. The scaling is favored for Monkeys Rising, but all Flippa have to do is find one big engage as really Prime's in.
The Forge God, that will be blocked now. Glacial Fissure into the stun from Heroic Charge. The Zhonya's is there from O-, but it should not be enough. That's a flash forward, actually. That's a good amount of distance, but Wonderworld will secure the kill. O- will fall. Now on the full retreat is Flippa United. There is a minute left until the Drake spawns, but with the smite off the table, Monkeys Rising looking for much bigger prey. The giant purple worm is going to be under attack.
The giant purple worm, aka the big lizard thing, is under attack. Colonel, as Baron is being attacked, but I don't think Flippa are going to give this up for free. It's 6k HP. I wonder what
that is the turn. Are. Base in the second with the CC. That's a big knockup from the Ornn, and now Face Seal coming in. That's a lot of damage. Can they find the kill before he comes back? He will find one. Now Base in the second into the backline, doing so much damage to Super Mega Death Rocket. Oh, almost not finding his mark. Unstoppable for Ornn to try and avoid that slow. But the chase is so good. Now Jungkook looking in, actually potentially giving Ridley his escape. Flashing forward, Base in the second, and they had Wild Growth the whole time. Base in the second with the W, getting so much damage. That turn was almost incredible. They did have that Wild Growth, but just barely not enough. And Ornn will fall. They decide to still keep the Baron, but they will be securing themselves Mountain Soul for Monkeys Rising.
Absolutely, and Colonel, I was going to say, with 20 seconds to Drake, I wonder what objective Monkeys Rising are going to prefer. Are they going to want to go for this Baron or Soul? I think they're making the right choice here, trying to set up territory for the Mountain Soul. It's not free just yet, but it looks like as Flippa United are going to back off here. 33-minute Mountain Soul is going over to Monkeys Rising, and now their comp. Now, I mean, you know what? This Tristana made the right choice going this LDR because, oh boy, are Monkeys Rising tanky.
Absolutely. Everyone can now surface as a tank. All these squishies are now their own form of bruiser. And honestly, my feelings about the Drake Souls is so incredibly difficult to lose with a Mountain Soul. It just provides so much value. And with the team that, if you take a look at their team comp, Tristana is looking for that single assassination. You're looking for that burst. You're looking to get in and get out with one pick. They do not have the sustained damage that a Jinx would provide. So they're going to have a lot of trouble because if they cannot get that initial burst, Monkeys Rising is just going to survive.
Exactly, and I mean, their comp has so much disengaged. Colonel, have you seen how each one of these fights have gone off? Ornn tries to pull the trigger, O- and Ish try to go in, and then Braum freezes up the Yone, basically killing him. Set disengages the Ornn. Poppy has all of the dash prevention onto this Diana, and Flippa are just not able to find anything in these 5v5 team fights. Now, they are able to find these picks, and ornaments are coming through. So if they can find a pick before a 5v5 starts, they still can win this game. But it looks like Monkeys Rising are turning back onto Baron, Colonel.
And perfect timing. Tristana has fully reset. She's going to be trying to run her way there. Ornn did get the tower, but Victor is stopping him from the potential TP. He will not be able to do that until he finds some space. Now, Yone coming over. Ish, can he find it? He's going to use a Fate Seal. He's stunned up, but the Smite is secured. Jinx will take the kill as a consolation prize. Now, on the bot side, there is going to be some fighting. Ridley is attacked. Chaos Storm is online. Has so much damage. Unstoppable. Trying to get the Brittle proc, but it's just too little too late. Ridley will fall. And the Death Ray will find his mark. Now Glacial Fissure in the middle lane, finding themselves a pick. Now Showstopper going in. There's going to be so much damage onto Riv, trying to keep himself alive with the Wild Growth. But the tower will fall, and Hell Frozen over. Flippa are on the back heel. Monkeys Rising, looking to the base.
And I think that this might be the game, Colonel, as Monkeys Rising are pushing in. There are 3 dead. These timers are so long on their top jungle. Ish may come back up in time to be able to make one last play with his ultimate, but his ultimate's on cooldown. I think that this is game 1. Going over to Monkeys Rising. There's just no contest from Riv. Spirit just says walk into base. They say GG, and game 1 goes over to Monkeys Rising.
What a great job to stall that game out. It looked so dire at so many points, but that tenacity continuing to push through, and a great win from Monkeys Rising. Remember, these teams are so close in the standings. They are tied at 1 and 2. So this win will mean a lot. And Wonderworld, take a look at that damage, finding himself some revenge against Flippa United.
Absolutely. And take a bow, sir. You blind the victor, you outperform Yon in lane, and just absolutely pop off. Fantastic performance all around. I think the team fights at the same time, though, I have to credit Basing the second here, clutching it out in these team fights when it was close. Once he was able to clutch out these team fights, his whole team was able to back him up, and everybody was able to do their job in the late game. But on the side of Flippa, I don't think that their gameplay was bad. I thought they played very well. I think at the end of the day, it was an oversight seeing how much disengage the side of Monkeys Rising had with the Poppy, with the Braum, with the set. You can't really play a dive comp like you drafted. And though I thought the comps were pretty even in hindsight, I don't see how Flippa close out this game unless they snowball harder than they already did in this game one. So if I were to game two, I think you have to go back to the drawing board and see what you can change, because I don't think you can run as much dive as you did if Monkeys Rising are going to be playing Braum and Poppy.
Absolutely, and a lot of it coming off the back of that 3v5 Baron play. So much credit to Basin II and Iox. They did so much work to stall the game out. That could have been a massive breaking point, but stalling it out and getting the win. But we will be looking to draft of game 2. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't touch that browser.
Hello everybody, and we are back with Game 2 of Monkeys Rising versus Flippa United in Week 4 of EGL, and right into Pickman we go. I am here joined again by Colonel. Let's get right into draft as we see Gwen and Fiddle banned. Monkeys Rising, no bans in sight when you have an E-sub, but with Chinese Spy coming back to the mid lane, that does mean they do get 2 bans back. And I wonder what they'll ban. I'm not actually sure. I think that Monkeys Rising were really happy without bans, so I wonder what they'll do with them.
Yeah, that's a great position to be in, transitioning from Game 1 to Game 2 after you come off with a win. More interestingly, I'm looking to Flippa to see what they change. Will they change just their strategy, or do they also want to focus something out from Game 1? I think there's a lot of potential options to focus out. A lot of people looking so good on their champs, but remember, this will be Chinese Spy coming back in, so we'll see if they respect the victor as much in a new pair of hands as the last tick goes through. What are you expecting for bans coming out of Monkeys Rising?
If they know they have them, something, but in that case, I think only one ban. I'm trying to get an insider information for us. It seems that Monkeys Rising was trying to stall for production for head, so that might be a ban lost. We'll see if they type a ban in chat. They lost 1 ban for E-sub, but they should have 2 with Chinese Spy returning to the mid lane. Nonetheless, if they don't need bans, who needs them? Jinx B1 back to the basics for Monkeys Rising again.
Yes, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Flippa United had side selection for Game 2.
And I think they're going back to red.
Yeah, which is very interesting considering the flex picks did not seem to work out for them up in Game 1, but obviously looking to a different strategy as they lock in the Varus. It has been seeing a couple looks at higher levels of play, so not too surprised at the pick, but make sure I don't miss it that they did change their strategy just a little bit. They did take Braum off the table. We saw earlier that Zell was looking so good on that. Oh, it sounds like that will be a remake, unfortunately. So I guess Monkeys Rising has learned that they have bans this time.
And it turns out you do need bans for head. Let's see what the meme draft is. I think, as the draft goes away and the remake is straight in the case, we've seen some drafts go to remakes before, and there have been some that have gone and started to spell things and had some fun with it, but nonetheless, I think we're going straight into a remake, which is very good to see. I still think we're going to see Jinx B1. Surprise, surprise. Despite the remake, we may see this champion. I think that Ioked is a pretty big fan of said champion. And with that said, I mean, coming from here, I mean, Varus is a nice change of pace. They ban away the Braum, which gives their Ornn more value, which is something they may look back to with this Braum ban. There's a lot adjustments already for Flippa United, because I feel like first taking away the Braum is the important case, because it gave Monkeys Rising a really safe place for Jinx to scale, and Jinx became a problem, and it also created a lot of opportunities for other champions to shine as well, because as soon as this Yone went in, Braum would just lay down his passive concussive blows, it would be procced, and then Yone would just die before he had a say. And with the Braum taken off the table, a lot of the value of being able to play front to back is taking away from Monkeys Rising. They still probably will go that direction, but I think it'll be harder. I think that Flippa United will be able to play a little more dive and not get punished as hard as they did Game 1.
Absolutely. And remember, what they were doing so well in Game 1 from Monkeys Rising was the ability to kite back and then re-engage. And a lot of that, I give credit to that Glacial Fissure constantly being able to both stop the engage coming in, as well as be able to start to set up his team for success on the return. So this time, interesting to see what Monkeys Rising's setup is at teamfights specifically, because if they do not have that opportunity, then does Flippa United have the tools to force aggressively enough that Monkeys Rising can't survive?
Yeah, and Colonel, with that said, luckily enough, we are back into pick ban for game 2, as I think we'll see the same bands, but Colonel, back to the big question. Who do you think Monkeys Rising are going to take away here?
That's a great question. Honestly, I was going to say exactly that. The big performer, I pointed it out in the middle of the game, and I think all the way through, except for a little bit of a bill disagreement that we're probably not going to get back into. Rev looked really, really good in the bot side. This Tristana was so strong. It looked so confident from this AD carry, and that's a great thing to take off the table. Also, remember they did in the second ban phase look towards the mid lane, so we'll see that Lucian did look like a comfort pick for the mid laner. So we'll see. Those would be my 2 suggestions.
It did look like a comfort pick, but nonetheless, Diana is the second ban, which I think is also the right call, Colonel. I think that taking away this Diana, who, though I think Jungkook played really well into this, Poppy was really good into it, I think that Diana has the danger of just blowing up the game in your face and creating such a tempo advantage that doesn't matter. But with Jinx B1, it seems like Flippa United are actually maybe going to go Caitlyn here, Colonel. What do you think about this?
To be honest, I did really like the idea of the Varus. Has been seeing a couple strong looks across multiple levels of play. A lot of his build options also can lead with a lot of surprising damage. But regardless, they do lock in the Caitlyn. That should signal they are looking for a more aggressive bot lane. Monkeys Rising does have a tendency to sit back in the early game, let themselves scale up. So Flippa potentially looking to try and punish that.
Absolutely, Colonel. And on R2 here, they're going to go with the Orianna, trying to bring some control mates team fighting out. The Victor locked in instead. Same idea. Very similar concept, and nonetheless, I think it's a solid pick. It's just very weird to reveal your mid laner so early. Let's see what Monkeys Rising does with a counter pick here. If I know my team at all, I think we might be seeing a Corki come out here. We could also see something like Annie. We could see something like Ari potentially, but it is the Corki. It was the first guess, of course. Of course, Colonel. If you know a thing or two about this pick, tell me about it.
Oh yeah, it's just so incredibly strong. And Monkeys Rising has been showing their capability of playing around it. He has such an ebb and flow to his gameplay, where every time that package is up, he has so much kill potential, whether he use it to look for an own solo kill or to help his team engage in a team fight. The package is such a versatile tool to really surprise Flippa whenever it's available. And now also locking in the Thresh, so giving this Jinx some safety, something I really like, because as we tend to see with Riot's champions is that the earlier champions, have problems being survivable. She does not have great movement until she finds that kill, and Thresh can offer a lot of protection from that while also giving some big potential.
He absolutely does, but I was going to mention that Morgana was still up on R3, and it seems like it is the lock. So we're seeing a very traditional bot lane come out here, Colonel, with Caitlyn Morg versus Jinx Thresh. This is so a season 5, 6, 7 throwback. Very strong for both of these teams so far through the first phase of draft. And I mean, scaling is the name of the game this game. Again, Corki, Jinx, they have Victor. I know Caitlyn is an early game champion, but at the end of the day, ADCs do scale very well. So Flippa putting some pressure in that bot lane, though Morgana and Caitlyn are not bad champions at all when it comes to team fighting. And Jinx, Corki, and Thresh for Monkeys Rising definitely going back to that scaling. Colonel, I think we're in for a long one. What do you think we're gonna see any crazy picks in the second phase to really accelerate the game?
So the big thing that I'm looking at is that while on Monkeys Rising, I'm very much expecting their bread and butter, trying to keep the game slow, scaling up into late game. For Flippa, they do have some more potential to go early game if they do so decide. Remember, the reason that Kate Morg was picked so often in so many seasons is the amount of pick potential, as soon as that binding lands, putting that trap right under, the CC chain can be deadly. So, looking for the Volibear that does give you some more early game aggression, can be in the jungle or the top. So again, Flippa looking to some counter picks, but we'll see if this time around we go towards Flippa's advantage.
And I mean, this Volibear is such a smart pick here, blinding a top or a jungler, who knows, it could be either. And Flippa showing the flexibility here in the second phase of the draft, and now Monkeys Rising don't really know what their matchup is, top or jungle, so they're going to have to go blind on comfort here. They're going to lock in the Urgot. Basting the second performs very, very well on this champion. It is a comfort for him. This Volibear, though, does perform decently into Urgot, though I believe there are better matchups. I think this Volibear may be forced into the jungle with this pick, and maybe they'll pick a harder counter to Urgot, who is exposable in the right matchup. And as we're just waiting on a jungle pick to be locked in, it's up to BTS Jungkook to decide, and it is Rumble in the jungle, baby! Oh, wow, have we not seen this pick in a while from teams in EGL, and let me tell you, I am excited.
Absolutely, such a powerful pick, being able to get a really, really fast clear, and everyone knows how strong Rumble can be at level 6. He just offers so much damage, and it did leave the opening to have an 80 solo laner as well. It's much better to have that as opposed to having your top side all the same damage. But the opposite side, Flippa going to lock in the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser does have a really good matchup into Urgot. He has about a 52% win rate, so winning on the top side should be expected. But now that we've seen the entire draft, Paka, what are you expecting here?
Now, these drafts are so interesting because they're very similar in the way they like to operate. Volibear and Rumble both like fighting at top scuttle. Urgot and Mordekaiser are level 6 and beyond champions. Neither of them have a very, very, very strong pre-6. There are outplay potentials in both of these champions, with that said, but these champions are looking to kind of pressure with their ultimates. There's a scaling mid lane matchup, and I think that we have a bot lane matchup that Caitlyn Morg are impressive, but I think Jinx Thresh are a decent answer. I think there's a lot of pressure that Jinx Thresh can put on these bot lanes, so we're seeing like a clash of skill, I feel like these drafts are super close. They're both very, very good, and I think we're just going to be expecting a lot of early action around scuttles as Rumble and Volibear duel it out, as the rest of the teams are just trying to scale up. And honestly, Colonel, I'm expecting action in the first 15. I'm excited. What do you think? What do you think is favored here for you, Game 2?
To be honest, Flippa's draft looks so much better than it does in Game 1. Remember, Morgana is a very historic counter pick into Thresh, just because it limits so many of his options with that black shield. Thresh has so much trouble actually being able to lock down either the Morgana or her lane partner, this time being the Caitlyn. So, bot lane, I would honestly favor pretty heavily in Flippa, and if they can push through the bot lane with their aggressive jungler, then this time around, I think Flippa has the better team comp. They are able to have the early game that they did while still having a more stable late game focus with the Victor. Obviously, O is scaling up, and Caitlyn having such a dominant late game with her range. So if I had to predict, I might predict Flippa tying up the series here.
You know what, Colonel? I'm going to just play devil's advocate here. I think that Monkeys Rising performed really well in those late game team fights Game 1, and I think we're going to see that same action here from Monkeys Rising. Maybe this could be a caster curse, but the one thing that this team does well is team fight, and they showed that Game 1, and I think they'll show it again Game 2.
Absolutely. There's a lot on the table for both of these teams, but stay tuned as we load up into Game 2. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Elemental League Gold. It looks like Pack-a-Paul is smiling from ear to ear as it is Flippa versus Monkeys Rising, and this time it's Flippa's turn to try their hand at an early level 1. Oh,
I
wait.
mean, Colonel, there's more than that. I think
Uh-oh.
everybody's trying a level 1 as Monkeys Rising is stacked in the bot lane, and Flippa are looking to invade the red buff. We're going to see a 5v5 early, Colonel.
This is beautiful. We'll see if they ever find out who's going to lose the game of chicken first. Just barely. It looks like potentially not spotted, but now they're walking as 5. They're spread out. They do not know. And the Morgana binding is going to land. That's the flash forward. Straight into the hook. But that's so much damage coming in quickly. And now the first blood's going down. Rumble will find the kill into Volibear. Now basing the second. Going to be followed by the auto attack. Caitlyn with a double kill. Now Jinx finding one of her own. Spheric, can you escape? No, that's Jinx's double kill this time around. Now flashing over the wall. Ioke is looking for even more. Ridley trying his best to escape. Vanquish. Riv will fall. Shiny Spy finds him with the auto attack. And Monkeys Rising with the ace. 5 kills just a minute and 30 in.
And Colonel, that is what we love to see. I love level 1s, and it's so crazy. And now it is all Monkeys Rising as the Jinx is accelerated out of her mind. And look at the replay here. They know it's happening. They flash forward the binding onto the Rumble, but the Rumble can still make things happen as the huge Q damage, the huge AoE, the Jinx rockets are absolutely ripping through HP bars. Chinese Spy has AoE as well, and this is just a better level 1 from Monkeys Rising. Though Flippa have the early game advantage, it's not at level 1, it's at level 2 and 3, and they try to make a play, but it's the wrong time to make one, and now it is all Monkeys Rising in this early game. The question is that because Jinx is not in time to be able to base, will she be able to spend her gold before she gives shutdown? She doesn't have flash, she does have the cleanse this game. Let's see if she can get this buy off, Colonel.
Absolutely. And remember, as soon as something lands in this bot side that is near complete death sentence, they have to try their best to avoid it or cleanse it out, because that Morgana Kate combo can be absolutely lethal. And if we take a look at the jungles, Mord is able to check so they know exactly where Jungkook is going to be pathing. They did split the sides of the map, Rumble starting on the bot side and Volibear starting himself. Actually, starting on the bot side as well. So they will be converging on the top side. So potentially that means that Jinx can get herself back safely.
Absolutely, Colonel, and I think that it's really important here that we see the channels coming through from the Jinx. She has to stop it again on the minimap, and we're going to see a fight over a scuttle, like we said. Level 3, a fight over the scuttle. Let's see whose laners can reach him first, but Jungkook's just going to take it away. There's no smite from O-, but there's a fight, Colonel.
Absolutely. The double priority lanes for Flippa. O- trying his best to continue in. Now, Base in the second is here. Death's Grasp will find him. SMCC, but Ish just barely a little bit too far away. Oh, in the bot side, Baki's actually going to fall. Zell overstaying. Jinx barely getting herself out, although she did not use the cleanse. If we take a look at that, he finds the hook under tower, but he was bound, and we talked about how important that black shield is up against the Thresh. The Flay not landing, and that is going to be a trade kill back for Flippa, but Jinx does get away with her back, and she's coming back with a Noon Quiver.
Absolutely, though. But, Colonel, I think something we didn't mention is that the 2 kills that did go to Flippa in the invade both went to the Caitlyn, and Caitlyn died, so she was able to get the base off. She did come back with an advantage level 1 through 3 in lane. She bought a Cole, a dagger, and boots, and after this back has now bought the pickaxe. So this lane state is pretty even. It is slightly Jinx favored in terms of items at this point, but because of the farm lead they were able to create for themselves with the item advantages level 1 through 3, this Caitlyn is strong. Colonel. This Caitlyn is strong, and it looks like they're trying to make her even stronger as they're trying to set up something in the bot lane.
Oman is trying to focus all of his energy to continue to accelerate Riv. He said he was the best performer out of last game, and right as the hook is going to go, that is wide. Oman is slowed down by Zap. The choppers do not land, but now it looks like Thresh giving over his life for the cause. Jinx trying his best to stall. This Flay is actually doing a good amount. There's a lot of damage coming in. Now Jungkook is almost here. The damage is so close. That's the heal coming out. Now we're gonna find the binding onto 1. Now the Zap just does. Oh, it just lands. But Morgana is just barely keeping alive. So many summoner spells burned. But overall, that is going to be yet another kill and almost evening up the kill lead and getting their first gold advantage of the game for Flippa.
Absolutely, and I mean, Flippa does have the early game advantage here, and they are using it as well as they can. As this Caitlyn is starting to become very, very strong, it is a 15 CS farm lead, and with Jinx's base being stopped, it's a freeze set up by Riv, and it's pretty devastating for the Jinx right now, Colonel. Let's see if Monkey's Rising can get them out of that, but I think good plays all around, but especially from Flippa's jungler early game trying to get this Kate accelerated.
I have to give a lot of credit to Flippa. That was a disastrous start of the game in that level 1 and trying their best to stabilize it, and a lot of that coming off of Riv's back. But that we talked about it game 1. We talked about it last week. Jungkook tries his best to continue to push advantage and push tempo when these Drakes spawn. Now 6 minutes and 30 in. That is a pretty early Drake, and he will find himself the first one. So Monkey's Rising having that advantage, and it looks like the soul will either be Ocean or Infernal for game 2.
And I mean, those are crazy powerful souls, Colonel. Ocean and Infernal are very, very game-changing souls in the way you play the game and try to play around them. The Infernal more so for the individual Drake power, and the Ocean, obviously, for the soul itself.
That is so much damage onto Thresh. Barely able to get himself away, but this Kate Morg lane, as soon as a binding lands, is so close to spelling doom. And now, base in a second, going to be traded. There is level 6 for both available. That's so much damage. He should just be dead. He is in the Death Realm, and he will find himself on a gray screen as the solo kill goes over to Ridley.
And though the early game invade went so well for Monkey's Rising, it looks like it's all Flippa early as they're starting to generate pretty big advantages despite getting aced at level 1. It's their early game comp. Mordekaiser hit 6 and was able to punish. The Kate Morg bot lane has been able to punish the fact that the B1 Jinx is coming through because of Ioke's comfort on the champion, and now we're seeing a slightly different shape to the story in game 2 as there is a lot of damage out mid lane.
Ish holding on to that flash, confident that he could survive, but Chinese Spy finally getting his time to shine in game 2. He was not able to play game 1, and he's going to get a tower play. Jungkook going to continue to push here, trying to stop this back. But Omanis has arrived, and now that's going to be the stun. That's a good amount of damage on Chinese Spy. He still has the Valkyrie available. Morgana is on her way. Chinese Spy trying to hold on to this flash. It's a good amount of damage, but he shouldn't need it. Now the Equalizer coming down. That's going to be a lot of damage, but he has revealed his location, having to flash away. Lantern out to safety. Teleport has been channeled for Ish, as a lot of summoner spells traded, but no kill going over to either side.
Absolutely, a lot of action in the mid lane. The bot lane able to take their advantage and have Spheric roam up on the Morgana, and it did look pretty decent as a re-engage option for the Rumble with the ultimate, but as soon as Morgana shows up, it flashes away from them. And Colonel, I mean, Flippa have looked like a completely different beast this early game. They're playing the early game comp, and they're starting to put on the pressure often.
Absolutely, and we saw the power of this pick earlier. Remember, in game 1, base in a second did have a CS deficit, but this time around, not only does he have it again, but also he's 2 deaths in, so definitely feeling the pain on that top side. Now, O- again trying to come to the bot side. They do not have vision of him, but sussed out from Monkey's Rising's bot lane. Now, he might be coming back. He's wasting a lot of time if he cannot get anything here. But the wave is pushing in, and Ioke is going to be forced to overextend unless they give over these minions. But now just walking over. Now Volibear's coming again. He's wasting so much time. There are 2 more minions to farm. They'll finally go back. And now Jungkook is here. Does see the control ward. He will clear it out, so they do know where he is. But getting himself an advantage. Check out that CS lead in the jungle.
And it is big as this Rumble has been clearing very efficiently. With that said, O- has been putting a lot more pressure on the map, so the CS difference is expected because I feel like what O- has lost in the jungle has been gained as the death roll comes out, Colonel.
That is the death roll coming out of Ridley, trying his best to take down base in a second. There's so much damage. The Q does land. Now the flash forward. He's going to try and flash the chase. He will find himself the second solo kill, and Ridley giving himself a top kingdom.
And I mean, they take the counter pick this time. and they take an advantage with it. Last game, we saw a lot of counter picks come out and not do as much as we wanted, but this game has not been the case. This Mordekaiser has been dominant from Ridley Prime as he's been able to punish the fact that Urgot was the blind pick, and I think there's a dive on the cards here.
Oliver coming in, he's going to lock down the tower, the flash out immediately. Now Jungkook is here, he did stop the blue buff, and now Volibear is going to be in trouble. That's a lot of damage coming down. That's a chilling smite to try and keep O- alive. The Stormbringer trying his best. Jungkook going to continue to kite him. The Electro Spear will make his mark. Jinx trying her best to find that. Now that's actually the Equalizer coming in the mid lane. Ish trying his best to survive. Does have the Gravity Well to continue to kite away. And the Blast Cone should mean he can escape. But a pick secured for Monkeys Rising. And in perfect time as there are 30 seconds left until this Drake spawns.
And again, the Drake tempo by BTS Jungkook finding the plays at the right time. Now, this one was started by O- trying to push the advantage he's created in the game to the mid lane. A bit of a mistake there as Corki's able to be so safe, flashing away, and he does give his life trying to be proactive. But I don't know if Monkeys Rising can go for this Drake Colonel. I think that the bot lane is just too strong with Caitlyn having Berserker Greaves and Kraken Slayer. I think this is doomed if Monkey Rising can test this, but I don't think they know that Kane even has the Kraken yet, so they could be walking right into a trap.
And as they do have vision, Kate has arrived. This is the TP coming down. That is an important spell. It will be Ridley. He is so strong. Now backing up, Chinese Spy is here. They do have the package. That is their call, but it could potentially be baiting them into a fight that they are destined to lose. Now Jungkook looking in. That has a lot of damage. Now the Unstoppable going to be knocking them into the pit. That has so much damage coming onto one, but can they find the kill? Now it's going to be Corki finding one. That's a great play. The box is slowing them down so much. That's so important. Jinx finding one. Can she run away? The flash forward out of Riv, but Jinx finds herself another. Io, you've got to be kidding me. The trap is there. She's going to find one more. Mord is doing the backline, but that's a triple kill for Jinx. Now finally shut down. Now Ridley has his chance to shine. He's been shredding the backline. The Death's Grasp not going to land. Chinese Spy trying his best to kite it away. Remember, Urgot did not TP, and Chinese Spy will get himself away. The Drake secured, but that is 3 for 3. So much gold going over on either side.
And we need a replay of that because they take that fight 5v4 and it still comes out to their favor. The package laying on top of the Equalizer is just so much damage. Isn't Spirit have to run for the hills, and Io's kiting here, kiting it out. O- falls. The dash is not enough. Riv flashes forward, but the zap gets the kill. Resets again. Spirit has the stopwatch. Ridley Prime absolutely ripping up the back line of Monkeys, or ripping up the front line of Monkeys Rising as Spy and Yoked go on these kiting missions. So Ridley trades back a lot, and now this champion is terrifying in the top lane for Flippa as he gets so much value. But now the deficit in the bot lane has been equalized as Iokt has an amazing fight, as well as this Corki getting a lot of kills and assists online. So it really is a tale of two ends here, Colonel. It's can the Mordekaiser carry this game, or will the duo carry of Monkeys Rising be enough to close it out? And it's looking like it could go either way.
They're going to be proxying this lane. Jungkook is here trying to keep himself out of vision, but they do not take the bait. They do not try to start the tower dive, but instead looking toward this blue buff. Jungkook, I expect him to have to give this up. Chinese Spy is here, but there is no package. The buff resets is going to give them time. Base in a second has not come. He is going to push the wave instead. And now actually smited away. That will be secured by Jungkook. He will lock down his own buff. Ooh, actually using the Equalizer here. Very interesting use. And now trying their best. They're going to be flashing forward. That's a great buffer from the Valkyrie. That's a lot of damage. The Stormbringer coming down. Chaos Storm as well. But they will stay alive. And a lot of ults being traded, as well as flashes on both junglers. But that could potentially spell the Rift Herald on the top side.
It could, as there's more action in the ball.
Oh my god, that is so much damage. Now the E forward from Riv. He's slowed down by the zap. Can he find it? He has already used the headshot. It is on cooldown. So not able to find Ace in the hole there. And now Jungkook has arrived. Baki is not able to help here, so it will be a 2v2 jungle and ADC. He's walking up. Iokt is taking down a lot of damage, but as the binding is doing so much work, but Kate is massive. She'll find one. Oh my gosh, she finds a second. Iokt stepping up just way too far, and that is a massive advantage trying to build up for Flippa.
And I mean, they try to go in 2v2, but it's just a little too dangerous. This Caitlyn's just too powerful in the early game, and absolutely outplays with Spirit by her side, and fantastic playing from the Kate Morg bottom.
And now that does open up the opportunity for that Rift Herald, like I said before. And now O- able to lock down yet another objective. And remember that turret did go down, so that is first turret also going over to Flippa. So getting themselves a massive gold advantage already at a 3K in their favor before the third Drake even spawns.
It is so early for this tower to be falling for the side of Flippa, especially since, wow!
That is so much damage! Ace in the hole! And Riv finds himself the solo kill! You've got to be kidding me, this Kate is disgusting! And now that's going to be a good amount of damage on the top side, trying its best to force Space in the second off of this turret, so that should be them getting yet another objective under their belts. And we talked about the bot side, but this is going to be a battle of the 80 carries. As both are so strong. Both have their first completed items, and now trying to siege down the mid lane. That's the equalizer just to save the tower. Flippa are full steam ahead so far as the Rift Herald spawns.
And I mean, this Kate is starting to take over the game. We were talking about it if this Mordekaiser could carry, but with all the advantages that Kate has been able to create in the past 2 minutes, Colonel, we're seeing the lead go from even to 3K off the back of the Kate getting 3 more kills, or I guess 2 more kills and an assist under her belt, as Riv and Spheric are going crazy in this game too.
Absolutely, and if you do remember, this is a very comfortable pick for Riv 60. And now with 10 seconds until the Drake spawns, they have such an advantage looking to this fight. Chinese Spy is here. He does have the package for our here. Base in a second does have TP, but he looks like he's going to be walking over himself. Mordekaiser is walking as well. So this should be a 5v5 for the Infernal Drake. The hook does not land. Now it is started. They are trying to cut away. They have not dealt any damage, so that will be the reset. Trying their best to wait out the package. Ridley trying to find himself the flank. They have so much vision that both wards that Flippa have are completely left standing. Baki will not find it with the red. And now that's going to be the equalizer. That's a lot of damage onto Rift 60. They're trying to push them out of the river, but they're not able to find a single pick. Now it's a package. He's going in deep. Chinese Spy is way ahead of his team. Now the heal's there. He's going to fall. So much damage. The rocket will not find it, and he's dead immediately. Now Bolivar coming in. That's so much damage. Jungkook, you have to escape. Base in the second, trying his best, but so many fall. Ayok has yet to find it. The binding lands. The Lantern will be to no avail. Triple kill to Riv. And now Flippa trying to right their wrongs from game 1 as they secure Drake number 3.
And Colonel, they were trying to get the most out of the package, but instead they go in too deep, too far. The team was a little mismatched. The equalizer's good, but it doesn't really catch them in a trap. And now Spy with his package about to inspire goes in, but it's as the traps are blocking off the rest of his team and he falls. So it's all Flippa from here on out. The Volibear re-engages, everybody tries to flash forward to save the play from Porky, but that causes them to all be caught out, and it's just Flippa wiping Monkey Rising off them.
Absolutely, doing so good there. And now getting themselves a Drake advantage. The next Drake to spawn will be Soul Point. But remember, with an Infernal Soul, more of the value you really see comes out of these build-up Drakes. The Soul isn't exactly the strong point. It's not the equivalent of an Ocean or Mountain Soul. It is just that big amount of burst adaptive damage that you get from the Drakes leading up to it. But this is a massive gold advantage. They have already over 6K, and there's just no stopping this. And this time around, looks like Flippa can continue to keep their pedal on the metal as Baron is spawning in less than a minute.
And with Baron spawning in less than a minute, Colonel, you have to expect that it's going to go over to Flippa as they have complete control of this side of the jungle, as I think Ridley Prime might have found another kill if Basing the Second doesn't run, and the equalizer does get him out a lot, maybe unnecessary. Nonetheless, they find the way out, and Flippa looked good in this game too. And how good has Riv 60 looked all game? Absolutely dominating pick. As the LDR comes in, is there a need for this item? Again, I'm going to say it again. No, I don't think this is the right item. I think that Bloodthirster into IE is much more potent as a 2-3 combo at this point. Even Storm Razor, even like top's not squishy enough for a collector. Nonetheless, when you're this far ahead, you can build what you please. I am a I'm very opinionated on LDR. Nonetheless, though, Riv has been absolutely popping off, and going for the IE next is the right call. With a full item up on her opponent, this Jinx only has a Zeal to her name on top of the Kraken, and I would like to see the gold for a second as Baki's caught.
That is going to be a kill nonetheless. Baki absolutely out of his element right now, and he's just way too far forward. He has no backup even anywhere remotely close. And with Baron alive, it is a potential, but Morg has backed, so they are not going to pull trigger. But what a big misstep from the support.
It absolutely is a big misstep, and it is tragedy striking for Monkeys Rising as they just aren't able to even control their own blue side, but there is a play bottom.
He flashes straight into it. That's so much damage, but he's not able to find the kill, and now the TP is coming in. Chinese Spy, can you escape? The Death Realm should be coming in. He's going to get locked up. Actually, Death Grasp going to avoid it. Now the TP coming in. Now finally the Death Realm going to be triggered. Chinese Spy, can he escape? No, he cannot. But now Basin in a second is here to try and trade. There's going to be a good amount of damage, but the second TP is going to be coming in. Jungkook, can you escape? He's going to have to flash away. Basin in a second. He is dead to rights as the tower falls in the mid lane. And the jungler will escape at the expense of both of his solo laners as Flippa will march themselves into the mid lane. The flash binding does not land, but they got themselves a tower and 2 kills on top.
I think we're about to see more action here, Colonel, as Riv and Spheric have the flank, and Jungkook is caught.
Another binding lands, and Rift 60, half his HP gone in a second. And Rumble overheating and falling down. That is yet even more kills, and just like I said before, continuing to push the gas. They're not letting their foot off the pedal. Now with 10 kills over their opposition, they are marching into the base.
And Colonel, I think that with the gold lead just extending and extending and extending,
lands.
Wow.
Rift 60 is going to find the kill, and now Baki, he's going to have to flash away, but that's a double kill going over the Kate. Now, Ioked and Basin in a second, the only 2 left to defend, but the kills just keep going over. The gold continues to explode. Now it's 10k advantage over to Flippa, and Monkeys Rising have to find somewhere to stem the bleeding, but so far it's just going to continue finding all their back resets. 30 seconds left until the Drake spawns, and this will be sole point if Flippa can secure it.
It absolutely will be sole point, and I think that as the gold lead extends to 10k, I think your eyes are already on game 3 if you're Monkeys Rising. I just don't see a way how you're able to touch this Kate. This Kate is now on 3 items, about to finish the Infinity Edge, and once she hits this breakpoint with 4.5, 5k up on your 6-3 and 3 Jinx, you have to be wondering if you're Monkeys Rising how you're even going to contest an objective for the rest of the game, as this Drake is going to go over for free Colonel. And I think we're going to see a game 3 tonight. It's very controversial at this point, I know, but...
A mighty prediction. But I do have to point out, in the top side, we're looking at all these items starting to come into completion, but Basin in a second has yet to complete his starting item. He does not have a mythic. He's one of few to not have it, and as well as Baki, Thresh still not able to come online yet. Of course, that death sentence is always his power, but now Chinese Spy going to have to actually use the package defensively, and that could still mean death. And that is going to be another pick. Find one more, maybe this is your chance to buy, as he will fall yet again. Riv is legendary, and that is Baron, potentially going over to Flippa.
It is, Colonel, and I think that we are going to see them close out the game with this Baron once they take it. I wonder how they're going to set up to close out this game, however. I talk about this a lot when I'm on the desk. How clean can you be when it's time to close out a game? So the Baron does go over to them. They're going to reset. How do you set up for Baron? How do you break down the defense of Monkeys Rising and all the wave clear that they have in this Jinx and Corki? How are you able to pick them apart so that their Nexus explodes before the Baron ends? And I think he's going to start with a pick here by Ridley Prime.
Basin second, able to use Disdain to try and get out of the way. Important not to fall there. If he did fall, that would have been such a great opening for Flippa to finally crack open an inhibitor. But he does manage to escape. Now, if we're looking at Monkeys Rising, there is so little hope for you to stall this game. But if you do have any, all of it is going to fall on Ioked. He has so much gold. He got so ahead from that level 1. Has continued to be strong, but Kate just being so far the stronger. But as soon as you get one pick, that's all that you need in order for Jinx to get that excited, get to accelerate and continue a fight. But that pick is what's hard to get.
It absolutely is what's hard to get, Colonel, because it's hard to find one when you only have Equalizer and Package to play around. You do have Pick in the Thresh, but you don't have any large go button in this comp because it relies a lot on being able to stand your ground in front to back, and you cannot stand your ground against Flippa's comp at the moment, with Victor being so strong, with Caitlyn being so strong, with Mordekaiser being able to one-shot whoever he pulls into the Death Realm. The tower's gonna fall, and so is the inhibitor, Colonel, but I think they could just walk in and end the game here.
Rocky almost falling. He got hit by the binding, but there was no trap to answer. But there is the inhibitor going to finally fall down. 25 minutes in, and now marching into the base there. Will rotate. Ish has prepped the bot lane wave, and that's going to be yet another tower. Should mean yet another inhibitor. So the Equalizer will come down just to clear the wave, trying to keep this inhib up. Now they will do so. Now it is 4v4 on the bot side. Both top laners are clearing the top wave. We'll see if a fight does break out. Spheric getting hit by the zap. We'll see if they do look, but remember that Equalizer is used, and it is still half of its cooldown left to go before they have it up again.
And with the cooldown down, it just means even more pressure being able to be revived. The Death Realm, Colonel.
Base in the second, pulled into the Death Realm, and that should be pulled into a gray screen. Godlike to Ridley. That is disgusting, and they cannot even catch him on the return. And Wallabear is rooted up. Io tickles, and he is the one with the advantage. It's crazy how far ahead Flippa has become. And now with the third inhib falling, this could be the march to game 3 as they will rotate, finish off this last inhibitor, and set their eyes on the Nexus towers.
They absolutely are, and Colonel, I don't see a way that Monkey's Rising can stop this. Corky gets his shield bow popped, and now they have to walk to base as the towers fall.
That is going to be one. The Equalizer is back again, used just to clear. That is such a bad sign. Now rooted up. Ultimus is going to find his way all the way in. Unstoppable. He didn't even have towers left to turn off. And Caitlyn, has disgusting damage. Trying their best to turn around, but it should be game over. 3 locked in. They will find 1 courtesy of the Nexus Tower, but that is game 2 going over to Flippa in a dominant fashion.
And it is a fantastic change of pace from Flippa as they're able to pick the aggressive comp again and capitalize on it. This Caitlyn from Riv 60 is just lethal. You cannot give Riv 60 this champion, as he will take over the game if you let him. Monkeys Rising have to go back to the drawing board with the draft here, as they have bans. They need to see what threats they need to take away coming into game 3. With that said, Colonel, Flippa look good. Flippa look, dare I say, great. This Mordekaiser looked fantastic. The right pathing from Volibear in the early game, being able to farm it out on the Victor was ish this game. And Caitlyn Morgana showing a dominant performance. Everybody on Flippa looks good. So going into game 3, if you're Monkeys Rising, you have to start wondering, where do we go from here?
Absolutely. And maybe I'm crazy, but I think a lot of that is going to be a cape ban potentially on the table. I hope they're on the same page as me, but we will be taking a quick break before we load into draft of game 3. It is match point, Flippa versus Monkeys Rising. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody. We are back with Match Point. Monkeys Rising and Flippa United tied at 1. We are straight back into the ban phase, and we'll see what looks different. I am Colonel. Beside me is Packapall. What are you expecting to get off the table this time?
I mean, if you see as we fly through bans, it seems like there's a single person in this game being targeted by Monkeys Rising, and it is Riv60 in the bot lane. How good has he looked all series? And they're taking away what he played games 1 and 2. Leaving up, I believe it is Diana and... Bjorn? Diana and...
Actually, their first ban was the Tristana.
Was Tristana, yes. It was the Tristana. Nonetheless, 2 ADC bans going to the side of Flippa United, taking Riv off those picks.
Yep, just looking at the Caitlyn as their adaptation going into Game 3. Flippa keeping what they had before. Their big adaptation was taking that Braum off from Zell in the bot side. He was so good on it. And now, that's not too surprising, but once more we will see Monkeys Rising with that first pick Jinx. And important to note, they did get 3 games on blue side for this series.
Absolutely, with Monkeys Rising taking blue game 1, Flippa United saying, you know what, we'll stick with our strategy on red game 2, and Monkeys Rising saying, you know what, we'll stick with our strategy on blue side game 3, and these teams happy with the side of the matchup. They decided the Ezreal locked in by Flippa, a very powerful pick, Colonel.
Yeah, Ezreal has been seeing so many more looks. His item path with the Sunder is doing so much damage, and a lot of adaptation in his builds now, looking at Frozen Heart as a third item after the Mana Moon. It's so powerful, and in Riv's hands, I'm very excited to see what this pick can do.
Absolutely, and the Galio on R2, we haven't seen this champion in a while. We're seeing it a little more in gold than we are in higher elo, but man, is this pick powerful when it's pulled out right. It absolutely breaks people's brains when it comes to all-inning a team with a Galio on it, so a really strong flex pick from Flippa United, either going support or mid here. It's interesting where we're going to see Little Monkeys go at this point.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Remember, whenever you lock in an Ezreal, it does give you the opportunity for your support to roam. So if this is a Galio, it would be seen almost as often in the mid lane. It can become quite a nuisance. But Monkeys Rising, this was banned away from them in Game 2, but they will lock in the Nocturne. Very much expect that to be for Jungkook, although it can be for solo lanes as well.
Absolutely, and it is a good counter to the Galio, because the power of Galio Nocturne is that the Galio gets to ult on top of the Nocturne when he finishes going in, but the downside is, whoa, hold that thought, Zilean being locked in, B3, what are we going to see here? Could this be mid or bottom? I don't know, but it's a crazy pick nonetheless, Colonel. Forget my point about Nocturne, we're seeing Zilean in a Game 3.
Oh man, someone I know is going to be incredibly excited for this Zilean pick. But it still is obviously flexible. Flippa has so much flexibility in their draft as well. Both Galio and Karma can find themselves as supports or can be looked at solo lane as well. Karma, I think she, in this current iteration, is so much stronger in the bot side. She's able to get that push, help her laner push out, and then is able to walk away. But obviously can still be a top lane Karma. I would be surprised if it'd be mid lane, but we can also see that as well. And obviously Galio with the flex potential as well. So far it looks like most of the bans are focused on the top side, but still lots to be decided.
Absolutely, and with the set Shen being banned away from basing the second, and this Mordekaiser that dominated Game 2 being banned away from Ridley Prime, we're seeing what these top laners can do when the matchup is right for them. We're seeing how important top lane counter pick has become in this series, as the set Game 1 was dominant from basing, but the Mordekaiser Game 2 was dominant from Ridley. It's just finding those counter picks that give your top laner the advantage, Colonel, and let's see what they decide to blind here.
Yep, the last ban for Monkeys Rising was that Volibear. It was so potent in the jungle, but remember, it always has that flex opportunity, trying to take off with what would have been even a third flex pick, and that will be the Skarner coming in for Flippa. Wow, they do lock it in. So holding up that support and mid lane, as well as potentially top lane flex. Remember, Karma can still go in the top side. And Skarner can be a really devastating pick, but remember, they already have Zilean locked in to keep that member alive.
They do have Zilean locked in to counter the Skarner, but Flippa United are really showing a comp that is very, very flexible with the way that it can fight and engage, and Monkey's Rising has to go with something that stands its ground, and Ornn is a pick that can do that. They have to be able to stand their ground. When Skarner is going to be running at them, they have to be able to protect their carries from being eaten up by Skarner and just being sucked into his team and dying, and hopefully that's what they do on B4, B5 here. But with that said, the Ezreal Karma, I think, is going to go bot lane. This Galio may be mid, as we're seeing Nautilus locked in at the end of the draft, and I think that means that this Zilean is going into the mid lane. I didn't even consider it going into the mid. I actually thought it was going bottom in my head, so I'm very surprised to see this pick go over to Chinese Spy.
I'm so excited to see him on that pick. Remember, there are 2 players in this game that were rated by Cole himself as S-tier potential, and one of them being Chinese Spy, now on the Zilean, and the other being on Flippa's side in that support role for Spheric. But it looks like that will be Yorick in the top side, so Spheric himself on the Karma. Ooh, actually, there is still a flex opportunity. I don't want to put my cards down yet, although I do expect it to be the Karma. It can still be either Karma or Galio in the bot side, but Yorick on the top side for Ridley.
It is his counter pick of choice. Now, it's not the strongest into Ornn. There are better counter picks. Nonetheless, if this is what Ridley wants, this is what Ridley gets. He performed so well in Game 2, and going into Game 3, maybe he feels that split pushing them down while you have Skarner, Galio, Karma, Ezreal in the middle, just kind of looking to separate the 5v5 that Monkey's Rising is showing. Maybe that's their game plan. They're just going to have Yorick in the side lane, take towers, take towers, take towers, and just try to not let Monkey's Rising team fight. They're trying to prevent the team fight by forcing a split push out of them, and I'm excited to see how this goes because Flippa are introducing a brand new style of play to this game in Game 3.
Absolutely, we have yet to see it, and interestingly enough, this is not because Yorick smashes on this patch. Ornn and Yorick have a 50% win rate into each other, and on the last patch, Ornn just barely slightly winning, actually. So this is not because of the individual matchup. This is specifically because they know that Monkey's Rising likes to be this team fight force, likes to group as 5. So trying to beat Monkey's Rising stylistically is a big diversion, and I'm very excited to see how it turns out.
And Colonel, with both of the drafts set in place, I'm excited to see how it turns out as well. But if you had to go with one draft, what would you go with? It is Flippa United with this split push comp and a lot of safety, or is it Monkey's Rising with their all-in 5v5?
Oh, it's so hard, especially because I don't exactly know everything yet. We still have yet to see who is the support. But honestly, I sort of have to say Monkey's Rising. I think although the Yorick is very interesting, the rest of the team comp is going to struggle a bit. Monkey's Rising, it did sort of have the picks laid out, and Flippa picked right into that. I don't think the Skarner into a Zilean composition was that great, but we'll see if Skarner can set up his Galio for success. But honestly, I think the team fights are going to be hard, so I'm going to have to give it to Monkey's Rising.
Now, honestly, Colonel, for the first time in a while, I think I'm going to be with you. I like the 5v5. I don't feel like split pushing is as strong as a strategy as it used to be in past seasons. And I feel that Ornn is going to be able to do enough to wave clear and TP over to fight and help his team if he plays his cards right. So I'm not a huge fan of split pushing comps, though I know they still work somewhat. So I'm excited to see if Flippa can pull it off because this is a strategy they're definitely committing for, but my vote also has to be on Monkey's Rising.
Yeah, I think Monkey's Rising has so much trigger pull. They can always engage, whether it be with the Nocturne or the Nautilus or the Ornn. They have so much different opportunities to do so. But there's a lot left on the table. This is match point. Monkey's Rising versus Flippa United. Vote for which team you think will win. And we will take a quick break as we go into Game 3. Stay tuned. We are back with Game 3, Monkeys Rising versus Flippa. I am so excited. This is match point, and we got ourselves yet another level 1 fiesta. I am Colonel, beside me is Paul. I am so excited.
And Colonel with another level 1 this time, trying to roll the dice once more with a stack on one side and an invade on the other. They tried to read the top lane invade. Instead, Monkeys Rising is going to be able to get this vision in this bot side, and it's resets coming out from Flippa as they don't read the 5-point.
Yep, they have yet to actually walk forward and find out, but it doesn't look like Monkeys Rising wants to stay around. The tables had turned. Remember, just last game that it was Monkeys Rising who stacked with Flippa who invaded, and it did turn on their heads, although they did come back to win that game. They did get some good vision here on the bot side, but other than that, looks like Monkeys Rising does not find anything with their level 1, and it should be all calm so far.
Absolutely, but something that Monkeys Rising does get off the invade is they know where the Skarner is going to start for sure, which gives them some early information on the pathing of Skarner, so Orange should be able to be safe as Skarner paths towards the top side. Whereas Flippa don't really know where Nocturne can be at. Now, it is Nocturne pre-6. This champion does just want to farm here, so it is up to the Skarner to find earlier plays with the Predator if he's able to get an early boots buy off. Nonetheless, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of farming this game, Colonel. A lot of farming.
Absolutely. Both teams very comfortable scaling up into the later stages of the game. I have to ask, if the game does go late, if everyone gets to their... Ooh, almost hitting the hook. If everyone gets to their last item, who do you think actually comes out with the win?
Well, Ezreal is so powerful on this patch, and Enchanters are all the rage right now, but I think you lose a lot of value in Skarner and Yorick in the side lane as the game goes on, where ornaments will come through. Jinx is one of the most powerful 6-item carries in the game. So I think it's going to have to go to Monkeys Rising still, with the Orange Jinx combo being a lot for Flippa to handle. With that said, though, that does mean the mid game is opened up for them. I do think Flippa's mid game is much more powerful because I think Galio is such a powerful champion. We're seeing some fighting level 1.
The hook did land on the bot side, but Ezreal has so much damage. They were able to trade some back. Monkeys Rising coming up for the better, but not by particularly much, as both junglers are on their way to the top side. Skarner is, of course, there just a little bit faster. You could potentially be looking for a gank here in the top side, but actually a hook lands on the bot side as well. But taking back here, it will be based in a second, flashing away, peeking that Skarner, and knowing that he had no escape left. And now that will be the scuttle. I don't think Nocturne can contest this. He's not even done with his blue buff yet, so it should be that scuttle going over. And now Jungkook, he's a little bit none the wiser to this. Now, only now will he figure it out. Now we'll see if he's able to go all the way around, both trying to get the double scuttle. O- will be here. Could leave potential 2v2, but it looks like O- is the one first off. Oh my god! A lot of trading in the top side. Really is super low. Base in the second, trying to find himself a solo kill. Is it revenge from game 2 and first blood over to Orange?
And the flash comes through as the Ornn auto is already happening, Colonel. And there's a hook on the bot lane. There's more action, but ooh, nothing to be found of it as Jungkook's going to get it. But weirdly, Flash is trying to dodge the auto attack of Basting, but it comes through. The animation is completed as he flashes, and it causes him to lose his flash and his life. So Basting has all the power in his hands to be able to take over this lane with that first blood, getting him that early bombies.
As a great tool, and remember, Ridley did not take this pick because of its lane prowess. He picked it because he really thought that this was what they needed, but getting to such an early deficit is definitely heartbreaking so far. We'll see if he's able to continue to get stronger in this lane and start to scale as he split pushes, but a great early advantage for Monkeys Rising.
It is a great early advantage indeed, Colonel, and as Jungkook is going to be farming up to 6, we're still not going to see any heavy Nocturne action unless he does something that I don't think he's going to. He is going to put in a gank here, Colonel, and Riv and Spheric are actually in trouble.
Oh, that is a flash hook, but it does not land. Now the traps are on the ground. Spheric flashing away. The root, importantly, finding its mark in order to stop that from latching on that tether base. In a second, taking down really low. There's going to be one more auto. But other than that, the trade should be over in base a second, despite getting that early advantage, finding himself in some pain up in this top side. But there's a trade of flashes, 2 flashes for 1 in the bot side game.
Absolutely, and Baki does burn his flash trying to go forward there. But with that said, Spheric and Riv still have to burn flashes of their own as the Nocturne does hit his Q, which lets him get onto them. With that said, this Nocturne still needs to hit 6 as fast as possible. This does give O- a bit of a tempo advantage as he's able to go towards his bot side with a slight farm advantage. Though it is small, it should grow a little larger as he's going to be able to get to his bot side camps first. Now, Colonel, I think the most interesting that's going to happen here is when everybody hits level 6, because all of these champions are so 6 reliant. We're already seeing the mid laners hit it, but as soon as these junglers do, I think that the next fight we see from there will be a crazy one because of all the power they have in these ultimates.
Absolutely. Both the Paranoia and Impale so pivotal to what these champions want to do. And Jungkook does not have any CDR in his inventory. You like to try and see that before he casts the first one, but still level 5. He still has time to go, and he does have mid lane priority. The Drake is alive, but very, very close to that break point on both sides.
The real question is, Colonel, is will Jungkook be able to find this first Drake as he has been all series, or will he have to be able to farm onto this Nocturne until level 6 and give Flippa the window? And it looks like he might have to, as this Garner's posturing around the Drake. I don't know if he'll go for it or he'll look for a play on mid. He's still level 5. He's spotted out on a ward. Tension is rising here in this game 3 as all of these players are looking for the next big play to open up the game. I think as these junglers clash in the bot side, as Nocturne is coming out of base and this Garner is bot side as well, I think we're about to see a clash in the bot lane very soon.
Absolutely. Interesting to note, he did have bot lane priority, but did not feel safe enough to look towards that Drake. Space in second, almost caught in there. But now he has come back 1 camp later and at level 6. So now, with a little more strength, he's going to feel comfortable walking forward, but the traps are there. That's going to be Paranoia. They're going to be fighting down in this bot side. Both level 6. That's the Impale trying to stop Nocturne from finding the damage, but the damage is already there. Iox is going to find 1 kill. 1 more is going to get traded. Double kill. Going over to the Jinx. And now they have to run. Ezreal, he's going to try his best. Galio finally coming down, but Jinx finding himself the triple kill. Now Galio might have arrived just to his death. He's trying to find the trade. There's a lot of damage so far. Chrono Shift is there, not popped, and the snipe barely misses. Chinese Spy, oh my god, he's so low, having to burn the heal to keep him alive. But that is, oh, can the snipe find it? He's going to look. No, it does not. It's so close, but just like game 2, I yoked off to a monstrous game 3 start.
And I mean, this fight is chaos, Colonel, as the tension builds in the bot lane. As I was saying, the Skarner comes in, but it's too late. The Nocturne is here, the Paranoia comes out, and now Flippa have to run. The Impale comes through, but it's just too late. The Zillion comes down bottom, but isn't able to save the Nocturne's life, but he's able to use it a little for later as Riv is being chased down afterwards. The Galio ulti is very, very late. That's the power of the Nocturne into Galio, as Galio is unable to play his ultimate until Nocturne ends, and with an earlier roam from the Zillion, the mid priority seems to make the difference in that team fight, and it's all monkeys rising early on.
Remember, that is one of the power points of the Zillion mid. Double bombing the wave gives you so much lane priority, and just using that to their advantage. That does give them exactly a 1k gold lead. There is a CS deficit for the Ornn, which we have seen in previous games. Not too surprising, despite getting the solo kill. Interestingly enough, Hook does miss onto Karma, but that is a big advantage. If we can take a look at the gold real quick, take a look at this Jinx, 3,600, 500 kill lead, but that's actually the gank in the mid lane. That's going to be the taunt. Can he find, oh, Impale's back off cooldown, and Chinese Spy is going to die. His ult still just barely not coming up. Ezreal trying to help out, trying to take himself the kill. Instead, we'll just take a minion off the top side. But that is a great pick from Flippa.
And he makes the play just before the Zillion ulti comes off of cooldown. It is so close. Zillion's ulti was ticking down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as the Impale came through. It was too little too late, and such great timing from O- being able to find that play. And now Ridley Prime doing a little bit of a jungle cosplay here, taking the Rift all by himself, and that is Rift going over to Flippa United.
Ornn walking up just in time to spot it fall. That is the advantage you get from having this Yorick strong. He's got such a CS advantage already. He's taking it for himself, so he's planning on using that in the top side, trying to crack down that top tier tower. But always there is that trade. Rift Herald trading for Drake. That is the second Drake. Or I'm sorry, actually that's going to be a late first Drake, as actually Basin second potentially in some trouble here. Maiden of the Mist is locked on, but it shouldn't mean too much as the objective trade finishes.
It does finish, and Jungkook does find the first Drake. Again, this time a little later in the game, has a little bit less meaning than those early Drakes he's been getting, where Ridley Prime trades the Rift Herald. This is going to be very strong, because I think that despite his scoreline, there's action in the bot lane.
Oh, TP coming in, he's trying to find the kill, but now there's Galio in on to Baki. Baki trying to keep his ADC alive. Ioke so far able to, but that's, wow, able to stay alive. Uh-oh! Not exactly what you want to see. Basin second TPing onto his own tower. You hate to see it. And now Jungkook going to try and defend his jungle. But that is a good diffusion of the potential look from Ridley on the bot side. But heartbreak for Basin second.
It absolutely is heartbreak, as he has to run for his life here as Ridley Prime is starting to walk him down. The only advantage he has is that it was all off vision, so maybe they don't know. But that's the only advantage off of that play. It is a blunder from Basing the second, and that is a devastating one, as with Drake spawning in 340 and action.
Uh-oh. This could be potentially locked down. Impale straight into the taunt. The CC layered just a bit, and Ish find himself a kill. Uh-oh. Base of the second. One more misstep, trying his best to fight his way out of it, but he should die, flashing away. O- trying his best to chase, but he should barely be able to get away, but having to burn his summoner spell for the attempt.
And there are picks on picks on picks from Flippa United's jungler O-. Every time his Pale is up, he is finding the plays early that are putting his team in the right position so far, because it looks like it was very Monkey's favored with Iox having a triple kill. That is very, very accelerated for this Jinx, but
all
just
the Force
plays
Gods coming in, but the suppression is there. Not able to get anything out, and Yorick will find himself the kill. Chinese Spy arriving just a little bit too late. He should be able to clear the wave, but that is all that he can do. As he actually gets stunned up, that's a good amount of damage. Paranoia coming out now. He has the revive. He's able to use corner shift on himself now. Nocturne trying to look for a kill. He's doing so much damage, but oh my god, barely staying alive is this Garner. He's able to get his way out, and the stun does not land. Barely keeping himself alive. The snipe, can it land? Oh my god, Ioke, you've got to be kidding me! Finds himself the kill. 4-0 on his scoreline. A great snipe from the bot side.
And Ioke on this Jinx, showing why he's so potent on the pick, and it is a fantastic sniper, him getting him his 4th kill of the game. The Rift Herald's going down from Ridley Prime, but Colonel, again, plays and counter plays alike coming out in this early game between Monkeys Rising and Flippa.
Absolutely, and so far, those tradings actually going in Monkey's Rising's favor, although Flippa is slowly making their way back, and the Rift Herald going to be used in the top side. Nocturne is here to help defend. We'll see if that charge does get off. The tower would be so low, but it doesn't look like it's able to get there, and a big waste of that early objective that they traded the Drake for. Oh, wait.
It is indeed, but O- is in again.
Garner looking in it once more. The ult he used, depth charge, trying to keep Ioke alive, but he's going to get rooted up. That's going to get shut down, going over to Ezreal. And now Zell can only run. The Q should come through. Double kill going over to Riv. And just like last game, off to a great start for this midi carry.
Absolutely, and we were talking all about Ioke and getting those 4 kills early on this Jinx, but now Riv collects the shutdown on the Jinx, and he's 3-1 himself. What can't this ADC do? He has been playing fantastically all game. 3-1 now on this Ezreal, should be finishing Divine Thunder off the base here, Colonel. And with Drake looming, it looks like it could be Flippa's to take.
Absolutely, both bot laners of Flippa rotating or backing out to get their items before this spawns, and the top lane tower was secured. So far, this Yorick has been doing so good, though. Doing so much damage. Now, made it the miss. Locking base in a second in. Has so much damage. Oh my god, he's going to fall so much. There it is. Ridley Prime finding himself a solo kill. And wow, Flippa continuing to push the advantage, and now they have themselves a massive early gold advantage.
They absolutely do. And Jungkook's caught in the pit, Colonel.
Oh no, he does not have the flash, but his bot lane has arrived. Fleeing, that's so much damage. Oh minus, can he escape? He's flashing forward, or jumping forward now. Paranoia gonna be used on Ezreal, but Ezreal so sticky, so hard to get onto him. Now Baki gonna get flashed on by the Karma. He will die. Jungkook trying his best to escape, but Galio is continuing, and Riv on a rampage. Now 5-1, and 15 minutes in, it's starting to look disastrous for Monkeys Rising.
It absolutely is, Colonel, as they're trying to make something happen in the top lane, but I think that Ridley Prime is going to just be able to run away.
It's potentially
might get a kill.
Another kill. That's so much damage on Chinese Spy. Oh, the wave switched aggro. Chinese Spy almost having to use his ultimate there, but only 2 Drakes in, and Flippa feel unstoppable. This split push has been doing so well. Potentially this change in styles is exactly what they needed to take out the win. Now, check out the gold advantage is starting to balloon, almost 4K.
And Colonel, again, we were talking about the gold advantage from Jinx early, but now it's the Ezreal who's 1,000 gold up, and again, it's 1,700 for this Yorick. These two players are just so powerful in this game, as Monkeys Rising are on the back foot, but just haven't been able to find the 5v5s that their comp does so well. They're getting picked before the big objectives, and suddenly they're just too far behind, and it's really hard for them to play the game when they don't have all of their pieces in their comp.
Absolutely. And although the gold advantage isn't crazy, it's not like that 10k advantage we saw in game 2. It feels like it's so much more just because of where you find this gold. Ezreal is such a powerful champion, and he has so much gold. He's already on his second item. He's going to be able to get himself the Frozen Heart next. Now, Baki could potentially be being caught here. Skarner, who has caught who? Skarner has arrived, but it doesn't look like any action should fall. And maybe for the first time in this fiesta, we have a little bit of a calm.
We do have a calm before the next storm, I should say, because these teams are trying to fight off cooldown with their ultimates, and it's only a matter of time before Skarner finds another pick. Oh, mine has been looking so fantastic on this Skarner pick, but nonetheless, a short calm as the only objective up is Rift Herald, and it looks like it's just going to be Flippa's, Colonel. And Colonel, if you are Monkeys Rising, when is the next time you look for a fight, and where is it going to be?
I think a lot of it is on getting some item advantages, but they think right now is the time, flashing forward, but actually blocking the charge from Galio. He can't escape, but Chinese Spy actually having to use the Chrono Shift, using the rewind to keep himself alive. Galio trying his best, but the damage should come through. That last bomb should do it. Jungkook takes the kill for himself. Nautilus was there, so a good pick to trade for that Rift Herald on the bot side.
It is a good trade for Rift Herald, but I think it's a trade for Rift Herald and potentially mid, as Baki is just so squishy at this point, just being chunked out by this Ezreal, who isn't even really that much of a tank shredder. But again, I guess when you're a support, you just don't have as many resistances, as it looks like Ridley Prime could be postured for an all-in. He backs off instead, and it's still looking scary for Monkeys Rising as they do find a play, Colonel, but they just are having structures fall left and right.
Absolutely. Now this time around, looking for the all-in, forcing the flash out of base in the second as soon as that cage lands is just so hard to escape it. Now, trying to fight for their own jungle here as they are here. This could be a 4v5 onto Ridley. The Ornhorn is pulled. Flashing out is the Yorick. Now trying just to kill the Maiden off. Oh, she's going to survive. The bomb does not even land. Shouldn't mean too much, but there is a minute and 45 seconds until this next Drake spawns.
And in a minute 41, we're going to see a very, very pivotal moment of this entire series, Colonel, because I think that there will be a 5v5 team fight. The problem this time is that even though Monkeys Rising has the better comp for these team fights, they are in a very, very negative position. So if Flippa are able to set up on the objective first, I don't think there will be room to contest, and this could just be Flippa's Drake. If your Monkeys Rising, I don't even know if you can test this, because I think that it's all Flippa right now. I don't think you can play in to their current powerful point and try to make a play around this Drake, because it could cost you the game.
Absolutely. We'll see if they do, but actually, they are posturing on the top side of the map. They have control of the Baron area, trying now to clear out the top side jungle as well. Interestingly enough, with less than a minute until this Drake spawns, maybe Flippa is trying to push the pace of the game once more and look for Baron control, but Monkeys Rising should be able to clear out the vision and play some of their own.
They do, and what we've been seeing more recently as well, Colonel, is we've been seeing less teams trying to force around this Baron objective, so it is good that it's warded, but burning all of those wards the top side of the map right before Drake spawns could be a sign that Monkeys Rising are just looking to give up this objective potentially, as they won't have vision to step in here and take control of this river. And it looks like Spherical Minus and River looking to set up for a pick here, Colonel, and I don't know if Monkeys Rising know they're walking into such a trap, but they are right now.
Joaquin finding the one member instead of the rest of the group, but Jungkook is caught nonetheless. So much damage coming out into this Nocturne, now trying to flash away. Skarner, he's so fast, he's going to be able to look. But Chrono Shift is here. He has not used Impale yet. Now the Resurrect. This is exactly when Skarner wants to see. And now Paranoia coming in, but Nocturne has already fallen. Depth Charge coming in. That is the Ornhorn. They want the 5v5, but they finally got one kill. Iox is here, but the flank from Galio, can he find it? No, he cannot. Base in a second should be down, but that's a massive taunt onto the back line as yet another kill going over to Flippa. Now the dredge line will land, but the stun is there, shielding from the mantra. Oh, the snipe once more, and Iox will find himself a kill, trading 2 for 2. Now the Rift Hero is going to be summoned. Instead of looking for this Drake, they are looking for the tower. Iox is chunked from that massive True Shot barrage with the Essence Flux pop, and that should mean the second tier 2 tower to fall. And they should be able to rotate to the Drake after.
And they will rotate to the Drake right after, Colonel, indeed. But the problem is though the fight goes 2 for 2, Flippa gets everything off the tail end of it. They get a tower, they get an objective, and now the base from Monkeys Rising is absolutely picked apart. It's 5 towers to none, and this game is just slowly starting to collapse for Monkeys Rising as the Jinx has restored some hope, but with a Drake going over and a tower, it is looking dire as they aren't able to find big team fight wins.
Absolutely. If we take a look at this, the Nocturne ult going in, but just so much damage coming out of this Ezreal. And then that knockup from the Ornhorn, able to get them the trade, but Jinx just walking up just a little too far, and Galio able to come in with that big taunt to continue the team fight.
It is a big taunt to continue the team fight indeed, Colonel, but Jinx able to find this quick snipe here and walking forward afterwards, trying to look for more and just isn't able to find it, Colonel. And I just don't see how these fights, until Monkeys Rising hits a third item on their carries, I don't see how these fights are able to be finished out fast enough. They did go with the Zillion. The Zillion does create a very interesting dynamic for these team fights as he gives his teammates an additional life, but with Jinx the only person really able to cut through the team comp of Monkeys Rising, Jungkook just may be caught.
That is a suppression Impale doing so much work. Galio coming down and not even needed. The pick is so massive, and with no smite, this could signal Baron as they rotate up to that objective. And what a bad time to overextend from this Nocturne.
It is a bad time, Colonel, because it gives up so much, but what they've been doing all game on the side of Flippa, as I think Baki's just going to fall here.
That is so much damage, trying to use a locket to keep himself alive. He's going to get knocked up, but that is the final tick. Rampage for Ridley, and now that's the Ornhorn. Call of the Forge God will come in. The knockup is here. Rotations are here. They've given up the Baron, but they're trying to find a trade 1-for-1 on the bot side. Jinx is doing a lot of damage, but actually looking for more flashing forward is basing the second. Not sure if it was completely necessary, and finally he falls. Chrono Shift, not necessary, but that is the Baron given over to Flippa, and now they have the opportunity to open up this game.
They are having the opportunity to open up this game with Jinx getting another shutdown, but the Flippa trading the Baron, which is much more valuable at this point in the game. But something I was going to point out before all the fighting happened is that they're able to find picks off Karma, Mantra E, and Skarner are off cooldown. The Skarner has been sped up fastest that I've ever seen before just to impale the nearest target, and Jinx is the only one with the QSS, so if you're BTS Jungkook and you're caught out, it's just lights out and gray screen as your only option, and now it's what they're doing again. It looks like Spheric and Minus are just running around as a duo. Like, it's crazy to see because they're just sprinting around the map with so much movement speed, just looking for the opportunities to find the impales. And with only one QSS to Monkey's Rising's name, it is trouble now with the Baron up.
Absolutely, and remember that Spheric is one of the only other players, the only player on Flippa to be an S tier according to Cole, potential player, and obviously showing why he's been doing so well. Obviously, being able to help Riv in that Kate Moore game, doing so much damage and always finding the stuns, and now continuing to help find picks, but this one could be another one. The Impale's coming in. Galio trying to knock down. He finds the knockup. Paranoia coming in, but that is just going to be the kill. Immediately, Jungkook will fall yet again. Now trying to fix the 4v5. That's a massive knockup. Oh my god. That could potentially be what they needed. Jinx on the double kill. They're trying to look for even more. Ezreal will find a kill on the backside. Now, Ayok cannot continue. And Jinx is their last hope, but he's backing on top of a ward. That's such a greedy back. Now he could potentially fall for it. Oh, Ezreal going forward. He's going to find the Resurrect. That is an important cooldown for Chinese Spy to keep his top laner alive. Now he's going to find the knockup. That is massive on Ezreal. The stun is there, and that's exactly what Jinx needed. Shut down going over. Jinx, you've got to be kidding me. Ayok will fall, but carries the team on her back. Yorick is trying to trade. He gets the inhibitor on the top side, but that is a 3-for-4 trade for Monkey's Rising.
Blue team double kill.
And Colonel, these fights have been so close, but as they get the 3-for-4 trade, which is the goal they need to accelerate this Jinx finishing Infinity Edge, Ridley Primed is just taking all the objectives, but the flash forward is going to maybe cause Ridley to burn his flash instead. But again, Ridley claiming all of these objectives for Flippa as Monkey's Rising are forcing the fights because Karma and Galio are able to extend them for so long. As we go into replay here, the big knockup completely wins them this fight. The engage is good, but you start over chasing, and this is where Ridley starts to show why this pick is so threatening. They go too far forward and they get stuck in an extended fight. Even though Riv and Spheric do go in and die here, they are trading a lot. This is a great ultimate from Chinese Spy, keeping him alive with the Chrono Shift. And a huge knockup from basing the second, because if this knockup doesn't land, I don't think that they're going to be able to take both these kills, but instead that they do. The Infinity Edge and the Evolved Kraken from Ornaments is available now for this Jinx, so Monkey's Rising getting what they need and Flippa getting what they need at both ends of the fight.
Absolutely. There is the Drake point going over. Now Mantra E, just like you talked about, the Inspire doing so much. The taunt is there. Now trying to find even more onto Jungkook, but that is the support falling. They use the support ultimate to try and find more. Galio actually being used to not too much. Warren was in the top side the entire time. Oh, mine is almost falling to the rocket. Yes, again. Ayo continues to find these snipes. Now 12 kills deep, and he's going to make that a 1-for-1 trade.
And he is because of all of the damage that Yoked is able to lay down while the Skarner stepping too far forward. Now, it does take a couple skill shots to land it, and with the pause coming out, maybe Skarner's in call right now being like, WTFXD, I can't touch my keyboard. Maybe, as Chad's saying, they're reporting Skarner right now for falling. It's unlucky. I wonder what the pause is for. We don't have the news yet. I'm sure we'll find out soon.
Right back into it, actually. So that is going to be, whatever it was, fixed rather quickly. But I do have to point out, while Flippa is on Drake point, this is exactly the Drake that they would want with their team comp. Skarner is such an amazing user of that Cloud Drake. He wants that ultimate up all the time. He wants that speed, and it's just perfect for this champion. Also, that Rift change, having those speed ups in the jungle makes him so lethal. I
thought that was the game-ending glitch. I thought randomly at top tier 2 as Jinx was walking to a wave, we got the Nexus exploding visual bug. That would have been wild to say the least, Colonel, but nonetheless, you're absolutely right on this Cloud Soul, because people tend to rag on Cloud Soul thinking it's not that good, but I think that Cloud Soul in the right comp has a ton of power, and this is exactly that comp. The ultimates are so low, and all of these champions are so based around their ultimates and their abilities to deal damage, and with the move speed on Soul Point, how is the Skarner not going to catch whatever he wants, Colonel? It's going to be absolute chaos as Soul Point is going to potentially go over to them in 3.5 minutes, but it is Flippa right now turning onto the Baron, Colonel.
Absolutely, and this could be exactly what they need. As Jungkook, I have to expect him to try and walk up here. They do have a bush set up. This would be a heartbreak of a way to lose if Monkey Rising does fall for this. They're trying to suss it out. They're trying to ward up, but Nautilus... Oh no, he's going to fall for the trap. He's going to walk in. That's the taunt. Oh, immediately falling. Ish finds himself his 3rd kill of the game. That's going to spell the Baron. Oh, actually up in 15. They did the pick a little bit early, but Yorick is still in the split push. But great pick nonetheless.
It is a great pick, and once you get the word over the wall as Baki, you should know that they aren't on the Baron yet, so they have to be looking for something interesting, and he wants to know where immediately. He ends up costing him his life, and another structure falling for Flippa United, and Flippa have absolutely been macroing Monkeys Rising down with this split push comp, picking and prodding at the objectives wherever they can, and they're turning straight onto the Baron Colonel, but Monkeys Rising looking to contest.
Pings are going down. This is not the fastest Baron. Call of the Forge God coming in. The Ornhorn will not find his mark. All 4 stuck in the pick now. That's the paranoia. They are in the back of the pit, but that's the engage coming in onto 1. Skarner trying his best to find the impale. He's now fleeing. Can he even get the ultimate off? No, he cannot. That is a great pick so far. Now Galileo looking in. Can they find the damage? Now flashing forward, the dredge line does not land. That is an important one not to. And Yorick is pushing down the base. He is going to find the inhibitor tower. He's looking now for the inhibitor. But yet another dredge line does not land. Ezreal is poking them out so massively. He gets the inhibitor on the bottom side. Now trying their best to get this Baron down. Base in a second. Can he try and survive? He's flashing away, but that's going to be Riv trying to keep this team fight alive. He's going to get one. Yorick finds a kill. That could be the game. He's trying to push in. Ish has TP'd in. That is 1 tower. That is 2. Flippa out macro. They will win the game. And Flippa 2-1 will beat Monkeys Rising.
And Colonel, in what a fashion they do. That was absolutely fantastic with the way that they were able to pick and prod at Monkeys Rising's towers until they were all gone. They didn't even win it off a fight. The fight was pretty Monkeys Rising sided at the Baron pit, but it was a trap once more as they're able to find the back door in a sense. As Orin falls and the objectives were just too much to handle. A huge game from this Yorick and a huge game from this Ezreal as well. The Yorick again in the side lane, Ridley Prime dominating on this Mordekaiser game 2 and this Yorick game 3, and Riv 60 looking fantastic all series. Absolutely killer game from Flippa United.
Absolutely. I think my player of the series has to be this 80 carry, excuse me. Riv did so much work. He was constantly outputting so much damage in every single game. Even in their loss, he looked like the shining light. That is a great series for Flippa to win. A heartbreak for Monkeys Rising. They showed so much fight. But regardless, I think that is something to be proud of if you're a Flippa.
It absolutely is something to be proud of if you're Flippa indeed, Colonel, because it's just so good to see that their changes go through and are positive for them, because Flippa were just in a weird spot as an org and they make the changes and it ends up being right for them, Colonel. And I'm excited to see where this roster goes in the coming weeks. And with Monkeys Rising being 1-3, back to the drawing board once more as they start to need to figure out more and more and more about what they need to do to find that winning recipe.
Absolutely. And what I really love about this win from Flippa is they really dissected exactly what it was that Monkeys Rising wanted and were able to adapt their strategy mid-series to be able to eke out this win. Really well done. But that is going to be it for me and Paka on the cast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week. Thank you guys again.